Chapter 52-53. The Shaman Emperor was actually not a person of this world. This really caused Jiyu Fei to be taken aback. One must know that the southern shaman tribe had existed for countless years. The Witch clan had been the ruler of southern Witch clan for countless years. But 3,000 years ago, the barbarian emperor rose and defeated the shaman emperor, causing the Witch clan to lose their position. However, although the battle back then was earth-shattering, no one knew how the barbarian emperor defeated the shaman emperor. With the dragon-slaying saber? With the golden artifact set obtained from the ancient ruins? The barbarian emperor had a supreme artifact, but the Witch clan didn't. In the battle 3,000 years ago, the shaman emperor retreated and went into seclusion. Then, the barbarian emperor took over. Could there be an unknown secret behind this? Jiyu Fei suddenly thought of many things. The shaman emperor was unfathomable, many times stronger than the barbarian emperor. The current shaman emperor could crush the barbarian emperor with one finger. How could the shaman emperor lose to the barbarian emperor 3,000 years ago? The only possibility was that the shaman emperor went easy on him. "You aren't stupid," the shaman emperor said indifferently. "As long as you do me a favor, I will join forces with you. How about it?" The shaman emperor suddenly suggested. "What favor?" Jiyu Fei looked at the shaman emperor and said solemnly. Something that even a shaman emperor could not do was definitely not an ordinary thing. He had to get to the bottom of it first. Otherwise, if he was tricked by this fellow, he would be in deep trouble. "Capture Palace Master Ling Tian," the shaman emperor said. "What?" Jiyu Fei was shocked when he heard this. "This fellow actually wants me to help her capture Ling Tian Palace Master? What kind of joke was this?" "That was Palace Master Ling Tian. I can't help you with this." Jiyu Fei shook his head. Palace Master Ling Tian was the world's #1 expert. Jiyu Fei was sent from Palace Master Ling Tian to Meteorite Mountain Range in one move. Even if his cultivation recovered to Eternal Realm, he still couldn't defeat that guy. Of course, although he wasn't afraid of Palace Master Ling Tian, he didn't want to look for trouble. "Why, are you afraid?" the shaman emperor said disdainfully. "TCH, there is no one in this world that I, Jiyu Fei, am afraid of." Jiyu Fei sneered. "Then why don't you dare to join hands with me to deal with Palace Master Ling Tian?" The tone of the shaman emperor was filled with disdain. "Don't try to goad me. That won't work on me." Jiyu Fei shook his head. "If we work together, do we still need to be afraid of Palace Master Ling Tian? Capture her, and I will help you activate the formation platform," the shaman emperor said in an extremely serious tone. "Are you sure you're not joking?" Jiyu Fei said while looking at the shaman emperor seriously. "Do I look like I'm joking?" the sorcerer emperor said snappily. "Damn it, are you really going to deal with Palace Master Ling Tian? Did she offend you? Did she steal your husband?" Jiyu Fei's jaw dropped in shock. "What did you say?" The shaman emperor was obviously enraged. "No, I'm just saying," Jiyu Fei said awkwardly. "Tell me, are you willing to help me with this?" The Witch emperor said. "No, the risk of this is too great. If I don't handle it well, I might even be dragged into it." "That wouldn't be good," Jiyu Fei said hesitantly. That was Palace Master Ling Tian, a supreme existence that had dominated the Void Realm for countless years. His cultivation was unfathomable and even Jiyu Fei himself couldn't tell how strong he was. It was best not to offend such a person because the consequences would be dire if he were to be angered. Jiyu Fei really didn't want to offend Palace Master Ling Tian. "How about this, you just need to help me hold her back for an hour. How about that?" the Witch Emperor said after pondering for a moment. This, Jiyu Fei was a little tempted. Because if it was just holding Palace Master Ling Tian back, he could still do it. Actually, Jiyu Fei was curious as well. Why did the Witch Emperor want to deal with Palace Master Ling Tian? He had never heard of any grudges between the Witch Emperor and Palace Master Ling Tian. These two fellas who didn't seem to have any interactions, could they have some secret? "Who cares? I just want to leave this damn place." "All right, I agree." Jiyu Fei pondered for a long time before nodding his head heavily. "Then it's a deal." The Witch Emperor seemed very happy. But words are no proof, Ji Yufei suddenly said. Then let's establish a soul contract. The witch emperor said. Do you have to be so ruthless? Ji Yufei directly rolled his eyes at the witch emperor. Why, didn't you say that words are no proof? The witch emperor countered. I was just casually saying, don't take it seriously. Ji Yufei hurriedly said. That means we don't need to establish a soul contract? The witch emperor asked. Of course. No need. Ji Yufei smiled bitterly. He didn't want to establish a soul contract with this fella. The other party's cultivation was unfathomable, and in the end, he would definitely be the one to suffer. Actually, with their cultivation, as long as they promised something, they would definitely do it. If they didn't do it, it would go against their Dao heart and affect their cultivation. The witch emperor left because she had achieved her goal. Sigh. So troublesome. Ji Yufei was really annoyed. In this void realm, there were actually two fellas whose cultivation was higher than his. It really made him feel sullen. If his cultivation recovered to the infinite realm, why would he need to be suppressed everywhere? Although he wasn't afraid of the witch emperor or the Lingtian palace master, he really couldn't defeat these two fellas. However, the sorcerer tribe still had to be beaten up. Ji Yufei wouldn't let the sorcerer tribe off just because of the witch emperor. Very soon, the army of Fierce Tiger King and North Garrison King that surrounded Black Wolf City started to attack the city. Ji Yufei still won't let us off. The Witch King Wu Jiao appeared at the top of the city wall. As the army of Fierce Tiger King and North Garrison King started to attack the city, he also guessed Ji Yufei's intention. Previously, Fierce Tiger King and North Garrison King came in a menacing manner, but they only surrounded the city instead of attacking it directly. But now, they started to attack the city. Needless to say, Ji Yufei was finally going to attack the sorcerer tribe. In other words, the Heaven Witch priest failed to resolve the crisis for the sorcerer tribe this time. When the war broke out in Black Wolf City, all the forces in South China were extremely shocked. Ji Yufei attacked the sorcerer tribe as soon as he came out of seclusion. It was really too domineering. The 19 feudal vassals of South China were all frightened. They were afraid that Ji Yufei would attack them. Wu Jiao naturally wouldn't wait to be captured. After all, he was also one of the 8 great witch kings of the sorcerer tribe. Since he wanted to fight, he would fight with a bang. At this time, Huang Fuzun, who was eager to make a contribution, was chasing after King Dong. However, King Dong was protected by Lin Xiaotian. For a while, even someone as strong as Huang Fuzun couldn't do anything to them. However, when Huang Fuzun was chasing after King Dong, ancestor Tian Hong directly killed his way into King Dong's palace and directly occupied it. Then, under Ji Yufei's command, Red-Browed Eagle King led an army to the East Domain and directly occupied the territory that King Dong had managed for hundreds of years. In fact, King Dong's army had already been defeated. Although Red-Browed Eagle King also encountered resistance, it was like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. He overestimated his own strength and was directly crushed by him. Red-Browed Eagle King directly killed his way to King Dong's palace with irresistible force. Chapter 52-54. In a war in the cultivation world, the outcome of the war was determined by the upper echelons. Even if East King had 1,000,000 troops, his army would be finished immediately after East King was defeated by Huang Fuzun and escaped. It couldn't be helped. This was the reality. A divine king could wipe out East King's army. Ancestor Tian Hong was not a divine king. He was a half-step emperor realm expert. After Lin Xiaotian escaped with East King, Ancestor Tian Hong did not stay idle. All the generals under the East King's command were captured by him. He didn't kill these generals. Instead, he planted a forbidden technique on them and controlled them. Then, these generals helped him control the East King's territory. It had to be said that Ancestor Tian Hong's move was really brilliant. He controlled most of East King's territory without any effort. The generals under East King led their army and wiped out all the people who resisted Ji Yufei. The situation in the East region was also well controlled. Then, Red-Browed Eagle King arrived with his army. All of East King's territory fell into Ji Yufei's hands. There were 2 major threats in South China. Ji Fei solved the threat in the East region. Now, there was the sorcerer tribe. Destroy the sorcerer tribe? Ji Fei really had this idea. However, he was not a bloodthirsty person after all. Moreover, the sorcerer tribe was not a small tribe. It had existed for countless years and had taken root in South China for too long. The power of the sorcerer tribe had penetrated every corner of South China. If he wanted to destroy the sorcerer tribe, the entire South China would be in turmoil. Many people would die. This was also the reason why Man Emperor did not exterminate the sorcerer tribe after he defeated Sorcerer Emperor 3,000 years ago. It was because there were too many complicated things involved in destroying the sorcerer tribe. Of course, Ji Fei was not Man Emperor. What Man Emperor could not do, it was not necessarily impossible for Ji Fei. It was just that he did not want to do it. Huang Fuzun was still chasing after East King. He could not kill East King in a short period of time. Leaving East King alive would be a big problem. Ji Fei would not let this hidden danger exist. Now, the problem of the sorcerer tribe was giving him a headache. After all, he had some friendship with some of the sorcerer tribe. The Shaman Emperor seemed to not care about the Shaman clan at all, and this caused Ji Fei to be slightly curious. After all, the Shaman clan belonged to the Shaman Emperor, so why didn't the Shaman Emperor care about the life and death of those Shaman kings? Could it be that she had cultivated to the point where she had no feelings? Who cares? He didn't want to know what kind of conflict there was between the Shaman Emperor and the sorcerer tribe. Now, he only had one thing to do, and that was to wait for news from the Shaman Emperor, and wait for him to ask him to take action. The Ling Tian Palace Lord had always stayed in the Ling Tian Palace and would not leave the Ling Tian Palace easily. The last time Palace Master Ling Tian descended to the South Barbarian was already a miracle. No one thought that Palace Master Ling Tian would come to the southern wilderness. The following days were really boring. Ji Fei stayed in the imperial palace of the southern man's imperial capital. Besides guiding Xiao Ya in her cultivation, there was nothing else to do, and he was simply in a state of eating and waiting for death. His other disciple, Long Xiaoju, had run off to God knows where. Ji Fei didn't know that Long Xiaoju was currently chasing after Man Yu, the son of the barbarian emperor, in the culmination Buddha land. Long Xiaoju was badly battered by Man Yu. This fellow had started a massacre in the Buddhist land, and there were already many disciples of the Buddha clan and the battle sect who died in his hands. He had already fallen into a devil and could devour all the spirit chi of heaven and earth as well as the vitality chi of all kinds of living beings. Every cultivator who died in his hands had a characteristic, and that was that they had turned into a sinister and terrifying mummy. The more vitality chi this fellow devoured, the higher his cultivation and combat power would be. This was a devil. He could increase his cultivation and combat power through devouring. At this moment, everyone in the culmination Buddha land was in danger. Everyone knew that a devil had escaped from the extreme devil cave and was wreaking havoc in the Buddhist land. The disciples of the Buddha clan in the Buddhist land started to gather towards the great temples in the Buddhist land. Because in the 10 great temples in the Buddhist land, there was a Buddha king presiding over each temple. Moreover, each temple was protected by a powerful devil-subduing formation. In addition to the presence of a Buddha king, even Man Yu didn't dare to have any ideas about attacking the 10 great temples. At this moment, in a pitch-black cave in the depths of the Buddhist land, a ball of devil light could be faintly seen. The entire cave was filled with vast and mighty devil chi. A devil figure sat cross-legged on the ground and was currently devouring the surrounding devil chi. Emperor Realm, I want to become a devil emperor. This devil figure was Man Yu. He had already devoured enough vitality chi and was preparing to break through to the Emperor Realm here. He wanted to become a true peerless devil emperor. Only when his cultivation broke through to the devil emperor realm would he be able to seek revenge against Ji Fei. Roar. Man Yu constantly roared in a low voice. Within the devil chi, every time he breathed, terrifying cracks would appear on his body. The huge devil chi in his body seemed as though it could burst his devil body at any moment. I want to become an emperor, I want to become an emperor. Man Yu retained the last trace of his human will and desperately tried to control the devil chi in his body. Once he lost control of this power, he would be consigned to eternal damnation. His body and soul would be destroyed. He was gambling with his life. If he succeeded, he would become a devil emperor. If he failed, he would die. Countless devil runes started to appear on Man Yu's body. These devil runes possessed incredible power. The cracks on Man Yu's body actually gradually disappeared. At this moment, in the Buddhist land, countless experts of the Buddhist clan were searching for Man Yu. Long Xiaoju stood on a mountain peak and scanned the surroundings. On the vast land, Buddha light constantly rushed up. She couldn't sense the existence of a trace of devil qi. Where the hell is that guy hiding? Long Xiaoju said angrily. At this moment, the Black Dragon King appeared behind Long Xiaoju. Your Highness, there is a piece of news that you will definitely be happy to hear. The Black Dragon King smiled. What news? Did you guys find Man Yu? Long Xiaoju said happily. We haven't found Man Yu yet, but there is news from Southern Man that Lord Jiyu Fei has come out of seclusion. Eastern King is being chased by Lord Jiyu Fei's subordinates. He will be finished sooner or later. The Black Dragon King said anxiously. Master has come out of seclusion? Long Xiaoju was surprised and happy when she heard this. However, the smile on her face quickly disappeared because she hadn't gotten rid of Man Yu yet. Man Yu, Long Xiaoju clenched her fists. The Black Dragon King naturally knew why Long Xiaoju was unhappy. He didn't say anything else and directly left. He wanted to find Man Yu as soon as possible. Another 10 days passed. During this period of time, no one in the Buddhist land was killed by Man Yu. This caused Long Xiaoju and the experts of the Buddhist clan to feel uneasy. Hong. On this day, the moon was dark and the wind was strong. A loud sound rang out in the Buddhist land. At the next moment, a surge of devil qi erupted from a place in the Buddhist land. Within the devil qi, a huge devil figure roared towards the sky. Terrifying devil might spread out in all directions. Devil qi surged in all directions. Chapter 52-55. A demon had appeared in the Buddha land. This news quickly spread throughout the entire Buddhist land, then to the entire culmination sky, and from there, all the powerful beings in the void world knew about it. A demon has appeared in the Buddha land? Could it be that there is a problem with the extreme devil cave? It must be the extreme devil cave. All the demons escaped from the devil origin land of the void realm. The Buddha land is going to be lively. It has been 5,000 or 6,000 years since the last time a demon appeared in the Buddha land. I heard that the Buddha emperors in the Buddha land are in a terrible mess because of that demon. Countless creatures in the void realm were discussing this matter. This was because a demon appearing in the Buddhist land was definitely a world-shaking matter. It was simply a heaven-piercing matter. Once the demon came out of the Buddha land, it would no longer be a matter of middle sky. It would threaten the entire void realm. The last demonic chaos almost turned the entire void realm into Azura hell. Countless creatures were devoured by those demons and died tragically. Now, the devil in the Buddha land was still trapped there. In the land of the demons, the demonic qi was vast and mighty. Under the shroud of the demonic qi, the vitality of countless creatures was devoured and eroded by the demonic qi, turning into countless hideous and terrifying demonic creatures. This was the horror of demons. As long as they were willing, they could create a terrifying army at will. An army made up of demonic creatures would be the most terrifying army in the world. This was because the demonic creatures only knew how to kill and would only be controlled by the demon. At this time, the demonic qi was vast and mighty. At the center of the explosion, the ground sank, forming a bottomless pit. This pit was emitting demonic qi. In the sky above the pit, a demonic shadow was sitting cross-legged. Powerful demonic might erupted from this demonic shadow, shocking all directions. Endless heaven and earth spiritual energy gathered from all directions and was devoured by the demonic shadow. Today, I have become a devil emperor. Jiyu Fei, your time of death has come. That person suddenly opened his eyes and 2 bloody lights flashed in the void. Boom. An even more powerful demonic power burst forth from the demonic figure's body. Endless demonic aura quickly condensed and a gigantic demonic figure appeared in the sky, roaring at the sky. In that instant, The winds and clouds changed colors and the sun and moon lost their light. Countless living beings who sensed this demonic aura began to tremble. Die, demon! At this moment, a furious roar rang out. A Buddhist light broke through the layers of demonic aura and shot towards the demonic figure that was sitting in the void. This demonic figure was precisely Man Yu, who had successfully broken through to the demon emperor realm. Rumble! A golden Buddha's hand descended from the sky and shattered the demonic energy. After shattering the demonic energy, the power of the golden Buddha's hand didn't weaken. It continued to descend on Man Yu's head. Demon subduing Buddha hand? Several figures rushed over from afar and landed on a nearby mountain peak. The newcomers were Long Xiaoju, the Black Dragon King, and the others. "Oh no, Your Highness, that Man Yu has already entered the Emperor realm and turned into a great demon emperor. What should we do?" The Black Dragon King couldn't help but be shocked when he saw this. The demonic aura made him, a Peak King realm expert of the West Sea Dragon clan, tremble in fear. "What are you afraid of?" Long Xiaoju was very calm because she still had someone to rely on. "Should we ask the old emperor to come?" The Black Dragon King hesitated. "Don't disturb my father for such a small matter," Long Xiaoju said disapprovingly. "This is a small matter." The Black Dragon King was speechless. One should know that there had never been a demon emperor in the Void Realm for thousands of years. No one knew how powerful a demon emperor was. That was a demon emperor. At this moment, a demonic light soared into the sky and directly penetrated the golden Buddha's hand that was descending from the sky. In the next moment, the golden Buddha's hand that was penetrated dissipated in the void. "What?" The newcomer was shocked. He saw a golden Buddha's shadow appear between heaven and earth. Endless Buddhist light burst out from his body and directly dispersed the demonic aura nearby. The Fury Buddha had arrived. The Fury Buddha was the protector of the Buddha clan in the Buddha land. He held the demon-subduing Vajra staff and his duty was to subdue demons. When the Buddha land produced demons, he was the first to arrive when Man Yu became an emperor. "Today, I shall exterminate the Buddha clan and use their blood to celebrate my ascension." Man Yu stood up in the air and looked at the Fury Buddha venerable. "Little demon, how dare you boast shamelessly?" The Fury Buddha glared at Man Yu. Buddhist energy surged from his body and ancient Buddhist runes appeared on the demon-subduing Vajra staff in his hand. The powerful Buddhist energy of the Emperor realm exploded from the Fury Buddha. "You will know soon whether or not I'm boasting shamelessly. Kill." Man Yu suddenly revealed an evil smile. In the next moment, he disappeared from the void. In the next moment, the sky was filled with his silhouette. Countless barbarian Yu rushed towards the Fury Buddha venerable to kill him. Seeing this, Long Xiaozhou's expression became extremely solemn. "Child's play." The Fury Buddha shook the demon-subduing Vajra staff in his hand. In the next moment, countless Buddhist light surged out from the Vajra staff, turning into countless Buddha shadows that charged towards Man Yu. The Buddha shadows collided with the Buddha shadows in an instant, and a dense collision sound rang out in the void. Clouds of devil light and Buddha light burst out. Man Yu's real body had already appeared behind the Fury Buddha venerate and he punched towards him. Mad Demon Strike. A bright demonic light exploded from Man Yu's fist. This demonic light was extremely terrifying, as if it could destroy everything. The Fury Buddha didn't even think. He turned around and smashed the demon-subduing Vajra staff towards Man Yu. Bang! Man Yu's fist smashed onto the demon-subduing Vajra staff. In the next moment, a powerful Buddhist energy exploded from the demon-subduing Vajra staff and sent Man Yu flying. At this moment, the demonic shadows and Buddha shadows all dissipated in the void. The Fury Buddha's eyes widened in anger. His hand that was holding the demon-subduing Vajra staff was trembling slightly. The power that exploded from Man Yu's fist was shocking. Kill. Without any hesitation, the Fury Buddha waved the demon-subduing Vajra staff and charged towards Man Yu. Dense Buddhist runes appeared on the demon-subduing Vajra staff and the demon-subduing Vajra staff erupted with true power. The Fury Buddha waved the demon-subduing Vajra staff and smashed it towards Man Yu's head. This strike was like a divine mountain pressing down. It was extremely terrifying. However, facing such a ferocious strike, Man Yu actually grinned. Then, he stretched out his right hand and grabbed the demon-subduing Vajra staff. What? Long Xiaoju couldn't help but be shocked when he saw this from the mountain peak far away. The most shocked person was the Fury Buddha. Man Yu's combat strength had actually risen to such a level. He could actually take a strike from his demon-subduing Vajra staff barehanded. How was that possible? One must know that Man Yu had just broken through to the Emperor realm. As for the Fury Buddha, he was a famous Buddha emperor in the Buddha race. In the next moment, the Fury Buddha roared and activated the demon-subduing Vajra staff. A powerful Buddhist power exploded from the demon-subduing Vajra staff and shook off Man Yu's right hand. However, at this moment, Man Yu's leg was as fast as lightning and it landed on the Fury Buddha's chest. This kick was fast and accurate. Bam! A muffled sound, Man Yu's kick landed on the Fury Buddha Venerable's chest. The Fury Buddha Supreme was sent flying. His kasaya was instantly shattered, revealing his muscular upper body. The muscles on the Fury Buddha's body bulged and each muscle was filled with explosive power. His body was imprinted with countless Buddhist runes. At this moment, each of the Buddhist runes on his body was emitting Buddhist light. The place where Man Yu had kicked on the chest of the Fury Buddha Supreme actually caved in and a footprint appeared. However, this footprint was quickly disappearing. The Fury Buddha was a Buddha emperor after all, and his cultivation was extremely strong. His Buddha body's recovery speed was also very abnormal. Traces of demonic energy seeped out from the black footprint on the Fury Buddha's chest. In just a flick of a finger, the demonic energy that had invaded the Fury Buddha's body was forced out. At this moment, Buddhist energy surged from afar. Numerous powerful figures charged over from afar and surrounded Man Yu. They were the Buddha race's Buddhist supremacies. A total of 6 great Tao supremacies descended at the same time. However, heaven, earth, and man supremacies were nowhere to be seen. The 3 Buddhist supremacies should still be suppressing the extreme demon cave and couldn't be separated. When the 6 Buddhist supremacies arrived, the Buddhist energy that erupted from their bodies directly suppressed Man Yu's demonic energy. Demon, you won't be able to escape today. One of the 6 Buddhist supremacies with a pair of snow-white eyebrows said loudly. You want to gang up on me? Come on, who's afraid of who? Man Yu glanced at the 6 Buddhist supremacies and sneered. He is mine. The Fury Buddha roared and waved the demon-subduing Vajra staff towards Man Yu. Demon chaos heaven and earth. Man Yu roared and monstrous demonic chi suddenly rushed out of his body and instantly enveloped the Fury Buddha Venerable. Then, a dense collision sound came from the demonic energy. Soon, a figure flew out from the demonic energy. This person was surrounded by Buddhist light. Who else could it be but the Fury Buddha? Man Yu sent the Fury Buddha flying one after another. Such combat power was really terrifying. One should know that his cultivation had just broken through to the Demon Emperor realm. If he was given enough time, wouldn't he be invincible in the same realm? This guy is really a big trouble. Long Xiaoju was shocked when he saw this scene from the mountain top far away. Formation. Long-browed Buddhist Supreme shouted and the other 5 Buddhist supremacies immediately took action. They flipped their right hands at almost the same time and each of them held a formation plate in their hands. Chapter 52-56. Ayo, Buddha race also plays with formations? On a cloud in the distant sky, a figure said with some surprise. Master, this Buddha race's formation is second only to Heaven Ascension Palace. A little girl beside that person said. So it's like this, no wonder. That black-robed youth said in realization. This black-robed youth and that 7 or 8-year-old little girl were Jiyu Fei and Xiao Ya. Jiyu Fei was really bored in southern barbarian capital. There was nothing fun in the southern barbarian imperial palace. After leaving the imperial palace and walking on the street, the people on the street all disappeared and went into hiding. Because in southern barbarian capital, there were many people who recognized Jiyu Fei. This way, Jiyu Fei was even more bored. At this moment, the news of a devil appearing in Culmination Buddha Land spread. Thus, Ji Fei immediately brought Xiao Yue and rushed to Culmination Buddha Land. With his current cultivation, it didn't take much time to rush from southern barbarian capital to Culmination Buddha Land. He had just arrived with little Ya. So it's Man Yu. Buddha Land had a devil. Ji Fei thought that a powerful devil had charged out from Extreme Devil Cave. So it turned out that the so-called devil was actually Man Yu. It seemed like Man Yu had barged into the Extreme Devil Cave and obtained the great power he wanted. When Ji Fei saw that the devil was Man Yu, he knew why Man Yu had become a devil. Even if he used his toes to think, he knew that this guy wanted to increase his cultivation to take revenge. After all, Barbarian Emperor died in his hands. Man Yu's two brothers also died in his hands. This kind of enmity was absolutely irreconcilable. Of course, this couldn't be blamed on Ji Fei. They wanted to kill Ji Fei. Could it be that Ji Fei would just stand there and let them kill him? At this moment, Man Yu displayed his true combat power after becoming a devil emperor. He actually sent the Fury Buddha supremacy flying. When the 6 Buddhist supremacies saw that the situation wasn't good, they immediately took out the Buddha formation and trapped Man Yu inside. If a formation master in the Void Realm wanted to instantly set up a formation, they had to rely on external objects. Formation discs were good things. With a formation disc, a formation master could instantly set up a formation. Bang! Boom! Man Yu unhurriedly attacked the light barrier formed by the power of the Buddha formation. He looked like he was casually attacking, but every strike shook the Buddha array, causing the golden barrier to tremble. Countless Buddha runes appeared on the golden barrier. "Chumph, do you think you can trap me like this?" Man Yu sneered. "Demon, no matter how powerful you are, you can forget about escaping from this 60 feet demon extermination array," the long-browed Buddha Supreme said in a deep voice. His face was extremely solemn. The 60 feet demon annihilation array was one of the Buddhist clan's clan-guarding arrays. The golden light barrier only covered an area of 60 feet. In this 60 feet void, even the more powerful demon emperors could forget about escaping. "Really?" Man Yu revealed a cold smile. He actually sat cross-legged in the 6 Zhong demon exterminating great array. A ball of demonic light emerged from his body and enveloped him, blocking the Buddhist light that came from all directions. The 6 Buddha supremacies worked together to activate the formation discs in their hands. Buddhist chants resounded in the void. It was as though a supreme Buddha was preaching. Golden Buddha fire appeared in the 60 feet demon annihilation great array. The golden Buddha fire instantly engulfed Man Yu. The 6 Buddha supremacies worked together to refine Man Yu, destroying his body and soul. "Master, Man Yu is probably finished," Xiao Yue suddenly said to Ji Fei above the clouds in the distant sky. "This guy is trapped by the Buddha formation, but he is still so calm. I'm afraid he has something to rely on," Ji Fei muttered. "What?" Xiao Yue was shocked. Long Xiaoju, who was watching the battle from the top of the mountain, didn't notice Ji Fei and Xiao Yue. With Long Xiaozhou's cultivation, it was impossible for him to notice the existence of his master, Ji Fei. "Haha, Man Yu is dead for sure." Long Xiaoju laughed loudly. However, at this moment, a ball of demonic light burst out from the 60 feet demon annihilation great array. This ball of demonic light was extremely powerful, causing the entire 60 feet demon annihilation great array to explode. The formation discs in the hands of the 6 Buddha supremacies exploded. At the same time, they screamed and flew backwards. Seeing this scene, Long Xiaoju was dumbfounded. At this moment, it was as though a demonic sun had appeared in the sky. After the ball of demonic light burst the 60 feet demon annihilation great array, it was still expanding. Buzz! The void shook as though the sky and earth were about to collapse. "Master, what is this?" Xiao Yue, who was in the sky, was shocked. She couldn't help but ask Ji Fei. "This is Man Yu's trump card," Ji Fei said indifferently. The sudden burst of demonic power was really strong, but it was nothing in his eyes. Man Yu's attack was equivalent to the full power of a half-step transcendent Emperor Realm cultivator. It couldn't compare to the attack of a true transcendent Emperor Realm cultivator. However, with this move, Man Yu could kill a peak transcendent Emperor realm cultivator. At this moment, the 6 Buddha supremacies were shocked to the extreme. They saw the demonic light vanish, and a figure holding a demonic bead floated in the void. It's the heaven-destroying demonic bead. How is this possible? Buddha Supreme Long Brows exclaimed. What? The heaven-destroying demonic bead of the heaven-destroying evil lord? When the other Buddha supremacies heard this, they were also stunned. The heaven-destroying evil lord was a peerless great demon from countless years ago. He had almost turned the entire void realm into a demonic realm. He was unimaginably powerful. This evil lord had refined a supreme demonic weapon, the heaven-destroying demonic bead. When this demonic bead appeared, it was earth-shattering. The vitality of countless living beings within a 10,000-mile radius would be devoured by the demonic bead. It could instantly kill thousands of living beings. Such a supreme demonic treasure had disappeared for countless years with the fall of the heaven-destroying evil lord. No one would have thought that this supreme demonic treasure that made billions of living beings in the void realm tremble in fear would actually appear in the hands of Man Yu. No wonder this fella dared to say that he would destroy the Buddha race. With such a peerless devil treasure, this Man Yu really had the confidence to exterminate the Buddha clan. Heaven-destroying demonic bead. When Jiyu Fei heard the words of Buddha Supreme Long Brows, he couldn't help but frown. This fella's demonic affinity was not bad. Unfortunately, this fella was ultimately his enemy. Very soon, Jiyu Fei noticed that Man Yu's state was a little off. Although this fella was holding the demonic bead and had unparalleled demonic might, his eyes were dull as though he had lost his consciousness. Roar! Man Yu suddenly roared with a malevolent expression. He seemed to be in extreme pain. What's going on? Buddha Supreme Nu and the other Buddha supremacies were shocked when they saw this. This fella was a devil emperor. Could something have happened to him? Thimpy. Looks like Man Yu is finished. Chapter 52-57. The appearance of the world-devastating demon bead had those demon lords of the Buddha race shocked to the extreme. This was a supreme demonic treasure created by a peerless demonic ancestor in the void world. The moment it appeared, it broke the Buddha clan's 6 Zhong demon destruction formation. Even Jiyu Fei was a little surprised to see such power. However, Man Yu seemed a little off. This fella seemed to have become stupid. He held the world devastation demon orb in his hand and floated in the air. What is this fella doing? Everyone looked at the demonic figure in the sky in shock. Man Yu's Devil Dao energy continued to rise. From initial Emperor realm, he broke through to Middle Emperor realm, then Advanced Emperor realm. So that's how it is. At this moment, Jiyu Fei saw through Man Yu's secret. Master, what is going on with this fella? Xiao Ya was curious. An old ghost is hiding in the demon orb. Jiyu Fei said calmly. What? Xiao Ya was shocked when she heard this. Could it be that the existence within the devil bead wants to possess Man Yu and seize his devil body? What do you want? Man Yu's face turned hideous and he said in pain. Do you even need to ask? Man Yu seemed to have changed into another person. He spoke but his voice was that of another person. No, I can't be devoured by you. Man Yu suddenly changed into another voice. That's not up to you. Demon voice resounded. Is that so? At most, we will die together. Man Yu roared. In the next moment, the demonic energy in Man Yu's body became chaotic as if it could explode at any time. Once the demonic energy in his body exploded, not only would Man Yu's body and soul be destroyed, but the demonic soul that invaded his body would also be destroyed. You! Demon voice was shocked and furious. No one had ever dared to threaten him, but this fella actually dared to do so. If it was in the past, he would have killed this fella with a single slap. All right, what wish do you have? I'll help you fulfill it, okay? Demon voice had no choice but to compromise. No. Man Yu roared. Then what exactly do you want? If I leave the devil bead, I won't be able to go back. If I don't take your devil body, my soul will be destroyed. The demonic voice bellowed. You and I will make a soul contract. If you help me with one thing, this demonic body will be yours. Man Yu said. What? A soul contract? Demon Note was taken aback. If that doesn't work, then let's die together. Alright, I promise you. The demonic shadow had no other choice. While they were forming the soul contract, Xiao Ya was extremely anxious in the distant sky. Master, are you still not going to make a move? Once they established a soul contract, then the devil within Man Yu's body would successfully seize Man Yu's devil body. At that time, it would be even more difficult to deal with this fellow. If they want to play, then let them play. Jiyu Fei did not care at all. Alright. Xiao Ya knew that her master was very powerful. Since her master was not worried, it meant that her master was not afraid of this guy. You want to kill a person named Jiyu Fei? Man Yu said. His voice had completely turned into that demonic voice. At this moment, Man Yu couldn't reply anymore because his devil soul had already been devoured by that old devil's devil soul. Yen, this devil ancestor is finally free. Then, let's start a massacre to celebrate. Man Yu muttered to himself. At this moment, he was no longer Man Yu but the ancient devil ancestor, world annihilation devil ancestor. This is bad. When the Fury Buddha Paragon saw this, he was stunned. The world annihilation devil bead actually hid the devil soul of an old devil. Now, this old devil actually seized Man Yu's devil body. This wasn't as simple as 1 + 1. Rumble, boundless devil energy covered the entire heaven and earth. In just an instant, it was like night had descended. One couldn't even see their fingers if they stretched out their hands. Numerous devil shadows could be seen within the devil energy. All of you little baldies, come over and accept your death. The world annihilation devil ancestor said proudly. He didn't place these so-called Buddha paragons in his eyes at all. What did you say? The Fury Buddha Paragon raged. This devil was simply too arrogant. He actually wanted them to accept their deaths. Did he think that he was the ruler of heaven and earth? Set up the formation, the long-browed Buddha Paragon roared out. The 6 Buddha Paragons immediately rushed up and surrounded the world annihilation devil ancestor. At the next moment, a series of formation runes rushed out from their bodies and imprinted themselves in the void in all directions. Wang. The void trembled as countless Buddha lights surged. A series of Buddha formation diagrams instantly enveloped the world annihilation devil ancestor. Boundless Buddha lights burst forth, causing the surrounding devil energy to dissipate in the void. Is that all you guys have? The world annihilation devil ancestor laughed coldly. Seems like the Buddha race has already declined. The world annihilation devil ancestor shook his head and sighed. Declined your head. The Fury Buddha Paragon roared out and descended from the sky. He waved the Vajra demon subduing wand in his hand with all his might, smashing it down on the head of the world annihilation devil ancestor who was trapped in the Buddha formation. The Vajra demon subduing wand in his hand burst forth with an unprecedentedly strong Buddha power. The Buddha formation could only trap devils, but the Fury Buddha Paragon could enter and exit the Buddha formation at will. However, the world annihilation devil ancestor stretched out his left hand and grabbed the Vajra demon subduing wand that was smashing down on his head. What? The Fury Buddha Supreme's shock was no small matter. This was his strongest attack, yet the other party had casually blocked it. How was he supposed to play? He couldn't play anymore. The difference was too great. The other party's magic was transmitted through the Vajra exorcism wand. The Buddhist light on the Vajra exorcism wand immediately dimmed, and the Buddhist runes on the exorcism wand were gradually worn away by the magic. Seeing that the demonic energy was transmitted directly from the Vajra exorcism wand to him, the Fury Buddha Venerable could only let go and retreat. Soon, the Buddhist demon subduing divine weapon, the Vajra demon subduing staff, was actually transformed into a demon weapon by the apocalyptic demon ancestor. Seeing this scene, the long-browed Buddhist supremacy and the other Buddhist supremacies were stunned. The Buddhist race's utmost treasure, the Vajra exorcism wand, had now turned into the apocalyptic wand. My staff. The Fury Buddha Venerable was shocked and furious. That was a supreme treasure of the Buddhist sect that he had used for thousands of years, and it was finished just like that. This guy is quite capable. In the distant sky, Jiyu Fei was a little surprised when he saw the apocalyptic demon ancestor demonizing the Vajra exorcism wand. It should be known that demonizing a Buddhist weapon was not an easy task. At this time, the apocalyptic demon ancestor shook the apocalyptic demon bead in his hand. Powerful demonic energy erupted from the apocalyptic demon bead and directly shattered the Buddhist array. Countless Buddhist runes dissipated in the void. The 6 Buddhist supremacies were sent flying again, coughing out blood continuously. The blood that they coughed out was golden in color. This was the incomparably precious Buddhist blood. The Buddhist blood of the Buddhist supremacies could regenerate flesh and bones from the dead. It was a divine healing medicine. However, to demons, this Buddhist blood was a fatal poison. The 6 Buddhist supremacies used the Buddhist race's secret technique and used the Buddhist blood as a guide to display the demon-subduing trump card of the Buddhist race. Golden Buddhist shadows appeared in the void, emitting endless Buddhist light. These Buddhist shadows directly pounced towards the apocalyptic demon ancestor with extreme speed. 6 golden Buddhist shadows instantly rushed into the body of the apocalyptic demon ancestor. Roar! The apocalyptic demon ancestor roared into the sky with an extremely pained expression. Waves of demonic chi rushed out of his body continuously. After the demonic chi rushed out of the body of the apocalyptic demon ancestor, it immediately dissipated in the void. You little baldies, do you think that you can defeat this demon ancestor like this? The apocalyptic demon ancestor laughed sinisterly. At the next moment, he once again guided the demonic energy of the apocalyptic demon bead into his body. His body trembled and the 6 Buddhist shadows that rushed into his body were shaken out by him. The 6 Buddhist shadows instantly dissipated in the void. The 6 Buddhist supremacies suffered a huge impact and were sent flying while coughing out blood. You guys are too weak. As the apocalyptic demon ancestor spoke, he directly smashed the apocalyptic demon wand in his hand towards the Fury Buddha. Roar! A dragon's roar rang out. The apocalyptic demon wand actually turned into a ferocious and terrifying demonic dragon that pounced towards the Fury Buddha. Violent demonic chi spread out, causing the surrounding void to tremble. Boom! Without any suspense, the Fury Buddha was directly sent flying by the demonic dragon formed by the apocalyptic demon wand. Golden Buddhist blood sprinkled in the air. Can't even withstand a single blow. Hey! There's even a little worm from the West Sea watching from the side. The apocalyptic demon ancestor discovered Long Xiaoju and the others. Quick, run! Long Xiaoju, on the other hand, was quite frightened and immediately turned around to flee. However, at this moment, a demonic shadow had already appeared above the mountain peak where she and the Black Dragon King were. A terrifying demonic might descended from the sky. Long Xiaoju and the Black Dragon King seemed to have been immobilized as they stood motionlessly on the mountain peak. Oh no, Long Xiaoju and the Black Dragon King were instantly scared out of their wits. They never expected this demon to be so powerful. In just an instant, Long Xiaoju felt as though an invisible mountain was pressing down on her body. It was already a miracle that she was not pressed to the ground. Little worm from the West Sea, die! The apocalyptic demon ancestor directly slammed his palm down towards Long Xiaoju and the Black Dragon King. We're dead this time. Long Xiaoju was in despair. She only had one choice now, and that was to close her eyes and wait for death. The moment the apocalyptic demon ancestor saw the West Sea dragon race, he did not allow any explanation and directly attacked them. It seemed like he had a great hatred for the West Sea dragon race. Boom! When the demonic palm landed, there was a loud sound. The entire mountain peak was directly smashed into ashes by the demonic palm. Under this attack from the apocalyptic demon ancestor, Long Xiaoju and the Black Dragon King were definitely dead. However, the apocalyptic demon ancestor in the sky suddenly raised his head and looked into the distant sky. He saw 4 figures standing on the clouds in the distant sky. Among the 4 figures, 2 of them were Long Xiaoju and the Black Dragon King. Someone actually saved the person he wanted to kill from the hands of the apocalyptic demon ancestor. Wasn't this a slap to his face? Moreover, the other party's ability was definitely not weak. One had to know that the person could save the craftsman from his hands from so far away. However, this move was enough to make the apocalyptic demon ancestor view that person in a different light. You dare to save the person this demon ancestor wants to kill? Are you courting death? The apocalyptic demon ancestor roared at Gu Fei. You're the one courting death. Do you know who you want to kill? Chapter 52-58. No one had expected such an ending. Man Yu had gone through so much to enter the extreme devil cave, narrowly escaping death and successfully becoming a demon. He had even cultivated to the demon emperor realm. However, all of this had gone to the benefit of others. Perhaps when he had successfully entered the extreme devil cave, he had been targeted by the demons there. The night devil had been hiding in the extreme devil cave all this time. Perhaps all of this was the night devil's plot. Perhaps the night devil wanted to release the devil's soul of the great demon sleeping in the heavenly extermination demon orb. How could Man Yu have known all of this? Man Yu's devil soul had been devoured by the heaven extermination evil lord's devil soul in exchange for a soul contract. This kind of devil contract was planted on the devil soul. Once it was breached, even a powerful person like the heaven extermination evil lord's soul would scatter and he would be done for. Therefore, the heaven extermination evil lord absolutely did not dare to breach the contract. After the heaven extermination evil lord had taken Man Yu's devil body, his battle strength had been raised to the limit with the help of the heaven extermination demon orb. His cultivation had directly broken through to the peak of the emperor realm. The long-browed Buddhist supreme and the other 5 Buddhist supremes could not defeat this fellow even if they joined forces. With the devil orb in hand, the heaven extermination evil lord's demonic might was unparalleled. In his eyes, these lofty Buddhist supremes were just a bunch of small baldies. He wanted to destroy the Buddha race and release the devil chi that had been sealed in the extreme devil cave for countless years. At that time, what he had failed to do in the ancient times would be realized now. However, when he defeated the 6 Buddhist supremes and the Fury Buddhist supreme, he had his eyes on Long Xiaoju, who was watching the show from the top of the mountain in the distance. Clearly, this peerless demon had great enmity with the West Sea. The moment he discovered Long Xiaoju and the others, he had immediately attacked. If Gu Fei had not rushed to the culmination Buddha land on a whim to watch the show, his disciple would have been killed by the heaven extermination evil lord in both body and soul. Seeing that his disciple was about to be slapped to death by the world devastator demon lord, Gu Fei naturally couldn't just stand by and watch. With a universal shift, he teleported the dragon boat and the Black Dragon King to his side. Boom! With a loud bang, the entire mountain peak was blasted apart by the palm strike of the heaven-exterminating demon lord. No matter how tough the mountain rocks were, they were all turned into dust. Billowing smoke and dust swept out in all directions, covering the sky as if doomsday had arrived. When he saw this scene, Long Xiaoju who was by Gu Fei's side broke out in cold sweat, whereas, the Dark Dragon King's legs even went weak, and he almost collapsed. "Thank you, Master." Long Xiaozhou's voice trembled as he spoke. If it weren't for Gu Fei, they would have been annihilated long ago. "Human, you're really arrogant." Only now did the heaven extermination evil lord realize that there were still people watching the show from the clouds far away. "It's none of your business. Scram if you don't want to die," Gu Fei said impatiently. "You are Gu Fei?" The heaven extermination evil lord had devoured Man Yu's devil soul and obtained his memories. At this moment, he recognized this black-robed youth. "What, you want to kill me?" Gu Fei looked at the heaven extermination evil lord with a smile that wasn't a smile. "What do you think?" A powerful killing intent erupted from the heaven extermination evil lord. He had signed a devil soul contract with Man Yu, and he definitely wouldn't dare to go against it. Now that Gu Fei had appeared, he naturally wouldn't let Gu Fei off. That was because only by killing Gu Fei would Man Yu's devil body belong to him completely, and there would be no more hidden dangers. Initially, I was in a good mood and didn't want to kill anyone today. But since you're courting death, I have no choice but to grant your wish. Gu Fei shrugged his shoulders helplessly. Big words. The heaven extermination evil lord was enraged. This fella actually dared to look down on him. If he didn't kill this fella, he would be letting himself down. Why are you spouting so much nonsense? If you want to die, hurry up and attack. Gu Fei was getting impatient. Kill. The heaven extermination evil lord was completely enraged by Gu Fei. At the next moment, he waved his right hand, and that devilized utmost treasure of the Buddhist sect, the Vajra exorcism wand, shot towards Ji Fei. Roar! The Vajra exorcism wand, which had transformed into the heaven extermination devil wand, immediately turned into a malevolent and terrifying devil dragon. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws as it charged towards Ji Fei. Terrifying waves of devil Dao energy erupted from the body of this devil dragon, and its devil chi soared into the sky. Scram to the side! Ji Fei directly slapped out with his palm. With a muffled sound, the ferocious demon dragon that had just sent the Fury Buddha flying was actually slapped away by Ji Fei's palm and directly hit a mountain peak. The entire mountain peak instantly exploded, and rubble filled the sky as dust filled the air. Seeing this scene, everyone was dumbfounded, especially the Fury Buddha. His chest was still caved in, and golden Buddha blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth. Just now, the Heaven Extermination Devil Wand had directly sent the Fury Buddha flying. But now, the Heaven Extermination Devil Wand that had transformed into a devil dragon was actually sent flying by a casual slap from Ji Fei. Such a difference was simply too great. Seeing this, the Heaven Extermination Evil Lord was also shocked. He had never imagined that this black-robed youth in front of him would actually be so powerful. He held the Heaven Extermination Demon Orb in his left hand, and his right hand made a grabbing motion toward the Heaven Extermination Devil Wand that had fallen into the distance. The Heaven Extermination Devil Wand directly flew up, back toward him, and was caught in his hand. When the Heaven Extermination Evil Lord saw that the body of the Heaven Extermination Devil Wand was actually bent by a slap from Ji Fei, he couldn't help but be shocked. This Heaven Extermination Devil Wand was transformed from the Buddha race's supreme treasure, the Vajra subduing Devil Wand, using his supreme Devil Dao mystical ability. This Heaven Extermination Devil Wand was made out of true godly metal. Even the Heaven Extermination Devil Wand that was made out of godly metal could be bent with a single slap. It was really hard to imagine how powerful a casual slap from Ji Fei was. The Heaven Extermination Evil Lord directly channeled a wave of Devil Dao energy into the Heaven Extermination Devil Wand. In the next instant, the Heaven Extermination Devil Wand in his hand was restored. Wang! The Heaven Extermination Devil Wand vibrated, and a phantom of a devil dragon surged out from the Devil Wand, baring its fangs and claws at Ji Fei. "You're courting death." Ji Fei shook his head helplessly. At this moment, the Heaven Extermination Evil Lord didn't say a word and directly took out the Heaven Extermination Demon Orb in his hand. It had to be said that this Heaven Extermination Demon Orb was really strong. When this Devil Orb was in the hands of Man Yu, it could already unleash the power of a half-step transcendent emperor. And now, in the hands of its owner, the power that this Heaven Extermination Demon Orb could unleash was countless times stronger. A ball of devil light erupted from the Heaven Extermination Demon Orb and directly obliterated Ji Fei and the rest. Everywhere the devil light passed, everything turned into nothingness. Master, when Long Xiaoju saw this scene, he couldn't help but feel nervous. Master, Xiao Ya was also frightened. The Black Dragon King was paralyzed by the unparalleled devil might of the Heaven Extermination Evil Lord. Chapter 52-59. Looking at how Ji Fei was still standing with his hands behind his back in the face of this devastating strike of his, wasn't this the legendary act of acting tough? Acting tough in front of him was simply courting death. The Heaven Extermination Evil Lord shook the Heaven Extermination Demon bead in his hand, causing an even stronger Devil Dao power to burst forth from the bead, causing the power of his strike to increase by more than twofold. Rumble. The entire void was trembling. The void that was enveloped by the Heaven Extermination Demon Light was being destroyed and crumbling, forming a horrifying destructive force that was heading towards Ji Fei from all directions. By this time, the Fury Buddha and the others had already retreated far away. A peerless evil lord like the Heaven Extermination Evil Lord wasn't someone they could deal with unless they invited the primogenitor of the Buddha race over. However, the primogenitor of the Buddha race no longer cared about worldly affairs. Everything in the Buddha race was handled by the heaven, earth, and human supremacies. Therefore, it wasn't an easy task to invite the primogenitor over. This Devil Dao power is still alright. I'll kindly accept it. As Jiu Fei said that, he opened his mouth and took in a deep breath. That horrifying destructive force that was heading towards him was being devoured into his body. He couldn't care less. As long as it was essence qi, he could devour and refine it into his own strength. What? When the heaven-exterminating evil lord caught sight of this, his heart skipped a beat. This human was just like the devil race. He could devour all sorts of essence qi to raise his cultivation and battle strength. Jiu Fei had just broken through to the transcendent emperor realm, which was the eternal realm not too long ago. Therefore, he required a large amount of essence qi for cultivation. Kill. The heaven extermination evil lord roared out and smashed the heaven extermination demon bead in his hand. He wanted to stop Jiu Fei from devouring his devil Dao power. The demon bead shot up into the sky from the hands of the heaven extermination evil lord. Instantly, it turned into a devil sun and smashed down towards Jiu Fei. This was even more horrifying than a real devil sun falling from the sky. The void of the world was crushed by the devil sun formed by the demon bead. Beam after beam of destructive demonic light shot towards Jiu Fei and the others like lightning. Every beam of demonic light tore apart heaven and earth. The heaven-exterminating evil lord was truly enraged. Furthermore, he had already viewed Jiu Fei as his greatest opponent. Ayo, you still want to give primordial qi? Why are you being so polite? Jiu Fei circulated his mysterious art. At this moment, his entire body seemed to have transformed into a bottomless black hole. All the terrifying demonic lights that were bombarding him disappeared in the void around him before they could even hit him. Back in Eternal World, he could even refine a demon star, let alone a demon bead. This devil bead was only an eternal-grade devil treasure. Jiu Fei had never been afraid of anyone in the same realm. How is this possible? The Heaven Devastator Evil Lord was truly taken aback by this scene. This human was far stronger than he had imagined. Even his Heaven Devastator demon orb couldn't deal with this fella at all. What else could he do? Seeing that the situation wasn't looking good, the Heaven Devastator Evil Lord wanted to slip away. This was because he had yet to recover to his peak state in the past. He was anxious to find a place to recover his past cultivation state before anything else. Swoosh! The Heaven Devastator Evil Lord rushed into the sky. With a wave of his hand, he kept the Heaven Devastator demon orb. He fused with the demon orb and turned into a resplendent demonic light, wanting to escape. Thinking of leaving? There's no such thing as that in this world. Jiu Fei said as he clenched his right hand and punched out at the demonic light that the Heaven Devastator Evil Lord had transformed into. Wang. This punch caused the void to tremble. The demonic light that the Heaven Devastator Evil Lord had fused with the demon orb was sent flying. A demonic figure appeared in the void once more. To think that the Heaven Devastator Evil Lord would be sent flying by a single punch from Jiu Fei. You want to leave after hitting me? Have you asked for permission from your daddy? Jiu Fei said coldly. You. The Heaven Devastator Evil Lord glared at Jiu Fei in shock and anger. You what you? Kneel down and kowtow in apology, and your daddy might spare your life. Otherwise, I'll kill you with a single punch. Jiu Fei was incomparably domineering. So what if it was the Heaven Devastator Evil Lord? When he was in the Primogenitor's realm, he had killed plenty of these evil lords. What did you say? A warrior can be killed but not humiliated. This old ancestor is a mighty evil lord. Why would I kowtow and apologize to a puny human like you? The Heaven Devastator Evil Lord was enraged. Master, since this guy doesn't know what's good for him, let's just send him on his way. Long Xiaoju had already calmed down completely. When she saw that this peerless evil lord wasn't her master's match, she immediately jumped out. She had nearly died in the hands of this evil lord. This shocked and angered her. Since she wasn't this guy's match, she had to ask her master for help. Disciple, are you asking master to do hard labor for you? Jiu Fei said unhappily. What hard labor? Long Xiaoju was stunned when she heard this. Master is very weak. You can't expend too much essence qi. Jiu Fei said. Master, That evil lord and the heaven devastator demon pearl in their hands are great supplements. If you devour their essence chi, you'll definitely be full of energy. Little YA chimed in. If he didn't get rid of this guy now, he would be in deep trouble once his cultivation recovered to its peak. No one was willing to be targeted by a peerless evil lord at all times. Your words make sense. Gu Fei nodded his head. Swoosh. The heaven devastator evil lord turned into a beam of demonic light and was about to escape. No one can escape easily in front of me. Gu Fei laughed coldly. At the next moment, a huge hand appeared in the world and grabbed that beam of demonic light. The heaven devastator evil lord cried out tragically. That beam of demonic light exploded in Gu Fei's hand, turning into countless tiny beams of demonic light that shot out in all directions. Hey! Gu Fei frowned. He directly spat out a mouthful of true fire. Towering divine flames instantly shrouded the entire sky. Those beams of demonic light that shot out in all directions were burned away by the divine flames. However, there were still too many of them. A few of them managed to escape and became fish that escaped the net. That direction, Gu Fei looked in the direction where those beams of demonic light disappeared. It's the direction of Extreme Devil Cave. Long Xiaoju exclaimed. This is the heaven devastator demon pearl? At this moment, a fist-sized pearl that emitted a faint black light appeared in Gu Fei's hand. Barbarian Yu's demonic body had already turned into ashes. The heaven devastator evil lord was really vicious. In order to escape, he actually executed the soul-splitting secret technique of the Devil Dao. The heaven devastator evil lord's demonic soul turned into thousands of beams of demonic light. As long as one beam of demonic light managed to escape, he wouldn't die. Damn it! An angry roar came from Extreme Devil Cave. The entire Extreme Devil Cave shook. Boundless demonic chi exploded. The Buddha race's formation that sealed Extreme Devil Cave was shaking. The Buddha race's formation couldn't stop the Heaven Devastator Evil Lord's demonic soul from returning. The Heaven Devastator Evil Lord, who had returned to Extreme Devil Cave, was filled with hatred. He had already left this place, but who would have thought that he would have to return? What are you roaring for? So what if you're an evil lord? You can't even withstand a single blow. Chapter 5260. Master, what should we do? Yes, if that demon escapes, there will be no end to our troubles. Long Xiaoju and Xiao Ya were extremely nervous. That was no ordinary demon, but the ancient demon ancestor that had lived since ancient times. Once such an existence recovered its former cultivation, it would be no laughing matter. They did not want to be targeted by an ancient antique. The ancient demon ancestor's cultivation and combat strength were obvious to all. Even the 7 Buddhist supremes of the Buddhist race were no match for him and were easily defeated. The West Sea Dragon race was no match for the Zhongtian Buddhist race, and the old Dragon Emperor was definitely no match for that peerless demon. Both Xiao Ya and Long Xiaoju wanted Gu Fei to get rid of that demon once and for all. Master, with your cultivation, why don't you flatten the extreme demon cave? Long Xiaoju suddenly whispered to Gu Fei. Xiao Ya also looked at Gu Fei. Flatten the extreme demon cave? Sure. Gu Fei said. Master is wise. Long Xiaoju and Xiao Ya were both surprised and delighted. They did not expect Gu Fei to agree so readily, as if he did not even need to think about it. You guys take the lead. Gu Fei said again. Gu Fei's words were like a bucket of cold water poured over their heads. If they took the lead, wasn't that sending them to their deaths? That was the Extreme Demon Cave, one of the scariest forbidden lands in the Void Realm. Since ancient times, only the craziest demon cultivators would go there. Alright, if you guys are so afraid of a mere demon, how can you follow me to conquer the myriad worlds in the future? Gu Fei said disapprovingly. Actually, he did not want to be free labor for the Buddhist race. Getting rid of the Extreme Demon Cave would benefit the Zhongtian Buddhist race, because they had been guarding this place for countless years. Once the Extreme Demon Cave was gone, the Buddhist race would come out to conquer the world. Gu Fei did not want to do such a thankless thing. Even if something happened to the Extreme Demon Cave, the Buddhist race would be there to hold the fort. Let's go. Ji Fei turned to leave. Fellow Daoist, please wait. At this moment, a figure rushed over from afar. This person had a pair of long white eyebrows. He was the Buddha clan's long-browed Buddhist supreme. The long-browed Buddhist venerable had a kind look and was smiling. As the saying goes, one doesn't slap a smiling face. Ji Fei didn't have any malice towards him, but he didn't have a good impression of him either. Because in the mortal world, he and the old tortoise had been tricked by a little baldy. Greetings, Uncle Long Brows. Long Xiaoju didn't dare to be negligent. This long-browed Buddhist supreme was a good friend of his father, the West Sea Dragon Sovereign. Every time the West Sea Dragon Sovereign came to the Buddhist land, he would stay with the long-browed Buddhist supreme for half a month. As the little princess of the West Sea Dragon clan, she could enter and leave the Buddhist land freely because of the long-browed Buddhist supreme. You know each other? Ji Fei was a little surprised. My father and Uncle Long Eyebrow are good friends. Long Xiaoju explained. I see. Ji Fei was enlightened. Little niece, you're already in the Buddhist land, but you didn't come to see me. I'm a little sad. The long-browed Buddhist supreme smiled. He heard the conversation between Long Xiaoju and Ji Fei. This black-robed young man was actually Long Xiaozhou's master. This made things easier. Xiaoju was rude. I hope that uncle won't take offense. Long Xiaoju said with some embarrassment. Why would I? This is. The long-browed Buddhist supreme looked at Ji Fei and said. This is my master. Master, this is the long-browed Buddhist supreme of the Buddha race. Long Xiaoju hurriedly introduced the two of them. You must be the famous Ji Fei in the southern wilderness, the long-browed Buddhist supreme suddenly said. Not bad, your Buddha race seems to have an undeserved reputation. You can't even deal with a small demon. Ji Fei said calmly. This, the long-browed Buddhist supreme smiled bitterly. The situation was a little awkward. Dao friend Ji, why don't you come to our Buddha race ancestral hall for a while? The long-browed Buddhist supreme said. Ji Fei fell silent. Master, let's go and see what they are up to. Xiao Ye said. All right, lead the way. Ji Fei nodded. Please. The long-browed Buddhist supreme was overjoyed when he heard that. He didn't care about Xiao Ye's words and led Ji Fei and the rest towards the ancestral hall of the Buddha race. The ancestral hall of the Buddha race was located at the Myriad Buddha Mountain. This Myriad Buddha Mountain was the holy land of the Buddha race. It was also the holy land in the hearts of countless believers of the Buddha race. From afar, Ji Fei and the rest could see a towering mountain that pierced through the clouds. The peak of the mountain was shrouded in Buddhist light and the entire world was shrouded in a peaceful aura. On the Myriad Buddha Mountain, dazzling temples could be seen everywhere. Many spirit trees were rooted on the mountain and each of them was 1,000 feet tall with lush leaves. There were many fruits on those spirit trees. Those were spirit fruits. When Ji Fei got closer, he could tell that this place was unusual. This Myriad Buddha Mountain had suppressed an earth dragon vein. Moreover, this earth dragon vein wasn't simple. It was one of the main dragon veins of mid-heaven. By suppressing this dragon vein, the Buddha race possessed endless spiritual energy of heaven and earth for their own use. The reason why so many people of the Buddha race could break through to the Emperor realm was definitely related to this earth dragon vein. No wonder the Buddha race has so many experts. Ji Fei said indifferently. The Buddha race is blessed by the heavens. It's only natural for them to grow stronger. The long-browed Buddhist supreme smiled. Ji Fei was speechless. This guy was a smiling Buddha. He was always smiling. At this time, the Buddhist supremes who had returned to the Myriad Buddha Mountain were already waiting in front of the Myriad Buddha Hall to welcome Ji Fei's arrival. When Ji Fei arrived in front of the Myriad Buddha Hall, Buddhist chants rang out. Buddhist light descended from the sky and golden lotuses appeared on the ground. It was a Buddhist atmosphere. TSK, what's the point of all this? Ji Fei said disapprovingly. This. Hee. The long-browed Buddhist supreme smiled and didn't say anything. At this time, the doors of the Myriad Buddha Hall opened wide. 3 figures shrouded in Buddhist light walked out of the hall. Golden lotuses appeared on the ground with every step the three Buddhas took. Ji Fei felt a wave of Buddhist energy rush towards him and smelled the faint fragrance of epiphyllum. Buddhist epiphyllum? Ji Fei wrinkled his nose. Ha, Daoist Gu's presence on the myriad Buddha mountain is the Buddha race's honor. The heavenly Buddha Supreme laughed heartily as he walked towards Ji Fei. Of course it's your honor for me to come here, Ji Fei said proudly with his hands behind his back. All the experts in the myriad Buddha hall were dumbfounded. The scene was extremely awkward. Even Xiao Ya, Long Xiaoju, and the others were dumbfounded. Master was going to shock them to death with his word. Haha, Daoist Ji, please come in. The human Buddha Supreme made an inviting gesture towards Ji Fei awkwardly. Chapter 5261. Those Buddhist supremacies wanted to act tough in front of Ji Fei. Who would have thought that a single sentence from Ji Fei would put them in an awkward position? This was because they didn't dare to offend Ji Fei. After all, Ji Fei had just defeated the Heaven Extermination Evil Lord. The Heaven Extermination Evil Lord was an existence that easily defeated the 7 great Buddhist supremacies. In the entire Buddhist race, perhaps only the primogenitor of the Buddhist race, who had long retired from worldly affairs, could compete with him. Moreover, that fella had the Heaven Extermination Demon Orb, so it was hard to say if the primogenitor of the Buddhist race could defeat the Heaven Extermination Evil Lord. Ji Fei could actually beat the Heaven Extermination Evil Lord to the point where he had to use the spirit doppelganger technique to escape. Such an ability was simply too heaven-defying. Daoist Ji, please. The human Buddha Supreme smiled and invited Ji Fei into the Thousand Buddha Hall. The Thousand Buddha Hall was the sacred hall in the hearts of all living beings in the Buddhist land. Mortals weren't qualified to enter this sacred hall. Even those Buddhist kings wouldn't be qualified to enter the Thousand Buddha Hall without the summons of the heaven, earth, and man Buddhist supremacies. The heaven, earth, and man Buddhist supremacies' grand opening of the Thousand Buddha Hall and inviting Ji Fei into the hall was already the highest form of courtesy the Buddhist race gave to outsiders. However, it was obvious that Ji Fei wasn't grateful at all. Okay. Ji Fei raised his head and puffed out his chest as he strode into the Thousand Buddha Hall. Xiao Ya, Long Xiaoju, and the Black Dragon King hurriedly followed behind Ji Fei and entered the legendary Thousand Buddha Hall. The Heaven Buddha Supreme and the other Buddhist supremacies didn't stop them from entering the Thousand Buddha Hall. After entering the hall, Ji Fei casually sat on the seat below the throne. The group of Buddhist supremacies couldn't help but shake their heads when they saw this. This fella was so famous and capable, yet he behaved like this. By now, the group of Buddhist supremacies already knew about Ji Fei's background. This fella was someone who dared to fight the Lingtian Palace Master. That was the Lingtian Palace Master, the #1 expert in the Void Realm. Since ancient times, the number of people who dared to fight with the Lingtian Palace Master could be counted on one hand, and none of them had a good ending. However, not only did Ji Fei fight with Lingtian Palace Master, he was still alive and well, and did not have a bad ending. This was thought-provoking. After the Buddha Venerables took their seats, Ji Fei said, "Why did you call me here?" Ji Fei crossed his legs as he sipped on his tea. Yes, he was drinking tea because the tea of the Buddhist race was just too bad. He drank 2 mouthfuls before slamming the teacup heavily onto the table. Haha, fellow Daoist Ji is really too direct. Long-browed Buddhist Supreme smiled. It's better to be direct. I hate beating around the bush. Ji Fei said calmly. Then let's cut to the chase. The heavenly Buddha Supreme said. His tone was extremely dignified. This was the bearing of someone who had been in a high position for a long time. We invited fellow Daoist Ji here because we want fellow Daoist Ji to help us destroy the extreme demon cave. The heavenly Buddha Supreme continued. You want me to help you guys destroy the extreme demon cave? Wishful thinking. Ji Fei said coldly. We won't let fellow Daoist Gu's efforts go to waste. The heavenly Buddha Supreme said solemnly. Very good. Everything in this world has a value. As long as you guys can afford it, it's not impossible for me to help you guys destroy the extreme demon cave. Ji Fei said solemnly. What? The eyes of the Buddha venerables in the Thousand Buddha Hall lit up. The extreme demon cave was the nightmare of the Buddhist race. For countless years, the Buddhist race could only guard the extreme demon cave. To the Buddhist race, this was worse than being imprisoned. Moreover, countless disciples of the Buddhist race would be imprisoned together. Only by destroying the extreme demon cave could the Buddhist race be freed from this nightmare. However, the Buddhist race didn't have the strength to destroy the extreme demon cave. Even if they invited the heavenly race, it was hard to say. Then what do you want? Long-browed Buddhist Supreme asked anxiously. That's right. What do you want? Just say it. The Earth Buddha Supreme said as well. They had truly been trapped here for way too long. A single extreme demon cave had the entire Buddhist race tied up here, and they couldn't even take a single step out. This was simply way too stifling. While others were out there fighting for supremacy, they could only guard the extreme demon cave and live in fear. If anything were to happen to the extreme demon cave, they would definitely be in deep trouble. In this world, no one wanted to get rid of the extreme demon cave more than the Buddha race. What if I say that I want your myriad Buddha mountain? Gu Fei said calmly. What? The moment the Buddha venerables heard this, they were completely dumbfounded. Xiao Ya, Long Xiaoju, and the others who were standing behind Gu Fei were equally stunned. The revered master was truly incredible. The moment he opened his mouth, he wanted the myriad Buddha mountain of the Buddha race. This myriad Buddha mountain was the root of the Buddha race. The myriad Buddha mountain was the key to suppressing the dragon veins. On the surface, this myriad Buddha mountain looked like a mountain. However, in the eyes of Gu Fei, this mountain was a treasure. Furthermore, it was a treasure that could suppress the dragon veins of the Buddha race. If he were to take away the myriad Buddha mountain, the dragon veins would no longer be suppressed. Without the dragon veins, the Buddha race would lose their endless source of heaven and earth spirit chi. This would directly affect the legacy of the Buddha race. The reason why countless disciples of the Buddha race could cultivate in peace with the gathering of heaven and earth spirit chi in the Buddha land was because of the dragon vein that resided in the myriad Buddha mountain. Given Gu Fei's capabilities, he must have seen through the myriad Buddha mountain. Since he wanted the myriad Buddha mountain, he must have the capabilities to take it away. Why? Can't you guys afford the thing that I want? Gu Fei said lazily. The Buddha venerables did not know what to do. The moment Gu Fei opened his mouth, he wanted the myriad Buddha mountain. This was no small matter. Even the heaven, earth, and man Buddhist supremacies were having a huge headache. The Buddha venerables could not wait to get rid of the extreme demon cave immediately. However, if they were to hand over the myriad Buddha mountain to Gu Fei, they would not be willing to do so. This was the Buddha mountain that the Buddha race had been supporting for countless years with their Buddhist powers. If you don't act decisively, you won't have the chance to do so. Gu Fei said in an unperturbed tone. Let us discuss this. The long-browed Buddhist Supreme hesitated. Let's go. Gu Fei stood up, tidied his clothes, and walked out of the hall. Wait. The heavenly Buddha Supreme said anxiously. What, you agree? Gu Fei stopped in his tracks, but he did not turn around. The heaven, earth, and man Buddhist supremacies were extremely anxious. This person in front of them was the key to getting rid of the extreme demon cave. If this person refused to help, the Buddha race would be trapped here for many years. They were already sick of this kind of life guarding the extreme demon cave. What should we do? What should we do? The Buddhist supremacies in the hall were anxious and unwilling. They knew that as long as Gu Fei agreed, Gu Fei would definitely do it. This was a great opportunity to destroy the extreme demon cave. Chapter 5262. Within the 10,000 Buddha Hall, the Buddhist supremacies were about to go crazy. This was because Gu Fei wanted the myriad Buddha mountain right off the bat. This was not just a simple myriad Buddha mountain. For countless years, this myriad Buddha mountain had been refined by generations of Buddhist venerables and had long become a supreme Buddhist treasure. This myriad Buddha mountain was placed above the dragon vein and stabilized it. It was nourished by the essence energy of the dragon vein day and night, and the power it contained was unimaginably strong. Otherwise, why would Ji Fei be interested in this myriad Buddha mountain? The Buddhist supremacies in the myriad Buddha hall were also very clear about the background of the myriad Buddha mountain. The myriad Buddha mountain itself was a supreme Buddhist treasure. Moreover, if the myriad Buddha mountain was given to Ji Fei, what could they use to suppress the dragon vein? Moreover, the dragon vein had been stabilized by myriad Buddha mountain for countless years. Once it was taken away, the dragon vein would definitely explode. At that time, the entire Buddhist land would probably be finished. The consequences of losing myriad Buddha mountain were too severe, and this made the Buddhist supremacies extremely anxious. The Buddhist race had been trapped here for too long, especially the Buddhist supremacies. They couldn't leave because they had to check the formation every once in a while. Just like this time, they didn't know what went wrong. Man Yu, a small shrimp, actually barged into the extreme devil cave and almost caused a disaster. If it wasn't for Ji Fei, would the long-browed Buddhist supreme and the others still be sitting in the 10,000 Buddha hall and being worshipped by the thousands of believers? Now that Ji Fei was willing to deal with the extreme demon cave, this was exactly what the Buddhist supremacies had been hoping for. However, Ji Fei's demand for the myriad Buddha mountain drove the Buddhist supremacies crazy. Dao friend Ji, why don't you change your condition? The heavenly Buddha supreme hesitated. Disciples, let's go. Good luck to all of you. Ji Fei waved his hand and walked out of the hall. There was no room for discussion. Hey, Dao friend, please wait. The long-browed Buddhist supreme flashed and blocked in front of Ji Fei. When Ji Fei saw the smile on the long-browed Buddhist supreme's face, he didn't want to attack. Dao friend, everything can be discussed. Long-browed Buddhist supreme smiled. Bullsh *T. Do you think your Buddhist supreme has something that I'm interested in? Ji Fei said snappily. In Ji Fei's eyes, only this myriad Buddha mountain was passable in the entire Buddha race. The group of Buddhist supremacies in the hall was a little unhappy when they heard this. This Ji Fei was looking down on their Buddhist clan too much. How could an outsider imagine the foundation that the Buddhist clan had accumulated over countless years? That's hard to say. How about fellow Daoist Ji take a look at our treasure vault heaven? The long-browed Buddhist supreme was still smiling. That's right. Fellow Daoist Ji, you can take whatever you like from the hidden treasure paradise. The heavenly Buddha supreme added. All of them had their eyes on Ji Fei's exceptional cultivation. He was an amazing person who had casually defeated the heaven-exterminating evil lord. He was worthy of them deliberately befriending him and even currying favor with him. Your Buddhist race has a hidden treasure grotto heaven? Let's go and take a look. Ji Fei said indifferently. The Buddhist race was a superpower that was on par with the sky race of middle sky. Ji Fei had seen the foundation of the sky race. It was just so. He wanted to see how the Buddhist race could be compared to the sky race. Fellow Daoist Ji, please. The long-browed Buddhist supreme led the way. The heavenly Buddha supreme and the rest had no intention of accompanying him. They exited the 1000 Buddha hall and walked towards the back of the hall. Soon, they came to a stone wall behind the 1000 Buddha hall. The long-browed Buddhist supreme conjured a seal with both hands and struck the stone wall in front of them. At the next moment, transparent ripples appeared on the stone wall. Then, a golden door appeared on the stone wall. Please. The long-browed Buddhist supreme said as he pushed the golden door open and walked in. The treasure vault heaven is actually here? Ji Fei was a little surprised. Who would have thought that the entrance to the treasure vault heaven of the Buddhist race would be on an ordinary stone wall behind the 1000 Buddha hall? After walking through the golden door, a world appeared in front of Ji Fei. This was simply a small world. There were mountains, forests, small bridges, and flowing water. Most importantly, this was a small world that was filled with treasure light. Buddhist pagodas stood tall in this small world. The shortest of those pagodas had 3 levels and the tallest had 19 levels. Ji Fei counted and found that there were actually 49 pagodas in this small world. Each pagoda emitted a treasure light that soared into the sky, and each level of the pagoda emitted a treasure light. These are the treasures that the Buddhist race has collected over the years. Fellow Daoist Gu, feel free to take a look. Take whatever you like. Don't stand on ceremony. The long-browed Buddhist supreme was still smiling. Gu Fei was still fine, but Xiao Ya, Long Xiaoju, and the Black Dragon King behind him were already dumbfounded by the scene in front of them. Every pagoda and every level of the pagoda contained treasures. There were 49 pagodas here. How many treasures were hidden? I wasn't being polite with the Buddhist race in the first place. Gu Fei said indifferently. The long-browed Buddhist supreme smiled awkwardly when he heard this. All right, all of you go take a look. If you see anything good, just take it. That's what he said. Gu Fei pointed at the long-browed Buddhist supreme. Yes, master. The three fellows behind Gu Fei were overjoyed. Xiao Ya and Long Xiaoju immediately rushed towards the pagodas. There was no array formation here, so Xiao Ya and Long Xiaoju could enter and exit any pagoda in the Buddhist race's treasure grotto heaven. What? This, the long-browed Buddhist supreme finally couldn't smile anymore. He had said those words to Gu Fei, so he couldn't stop them now. He could only watch as Gu Fei's two disciples and the Black Dragon King desperately put the treasures that the Buddhist race had collected for countless years into their pockets. At this moment, the long-browed Buddhist supreme's heart was bleeding. At the same time, Gu Fei scanned the small realm with his powerful spiritual force. Although there were many treasures here, none of them caught his eye. It wasn't that these treasures weren't good, but that the treasures that the Buddhist race had collected in the Buddhist race's treasure grotto heaven wouldn't be too bad. It was just that Gu Fei's standards were too high. Just as Xiao Ya, Long Xiaoju, and the others were frantically collecting all sorts of treasures in the Buddhist race's treasure grotto heaven, the group of Buddhist supremacies in the 10,000 Buddha Hall looked solemnly at the three Buddhist supremacies. The atmosphere in the hall was very solemn. Are we really going to give the myriad Buddha mountain to that Gu Fei? The Nu Buddhist supreme said loudly, breaking the silence in the hall. What can we do? We can't miss this opportunity. A Buddhist supreme with the faint shadow of a golden dragon on his body said. He was the Sky Dragon Buddhist supreme. Chapter 5263. In the 10,000 Buddha Hall, the group of Buddhist supremacies felt helpless. Gu Fei was their hope, because Gu Fei was able to fight against the number one expert in the Void Realm, Palace Master Ling Tian, and still be alive. This kind of cultivation, this kind of battle prowess, was enough to be described as world-shocking. Furthermore, Gu Fei had casually defeated the incomparably ferocious heaven-destroying evil lord previously. The heaven-exterminating evil lord was a peerless demon recorded in the ancient books of the Buddhist venerables. Back then, the Buddhist race suffered heavy losses in order to suppress this peerless demon. Even the primogenitor of the Buddha race was injured and had no choice but to enter seclusion to recuperate. Up until now, the founder ancestor of the Buddha race was still in seclusion, not bothering about the affairs of the world. The extreme demon cave had always been a huge threat to the Buddhist clan. In the entire Void Realm, no one wanted to eliminate this threat more than the Buddhist clan. However, the Buddhist clan's power alone was not enough to destroy the extreme demon cave. He wanted to ask the Celestials to help, but the Celestials didn't care about this. The Buddha clan did not have much of a relationship with Ling Tian Palace Lord. Ling Tian Palace Lord was the strongest expert in the Void Realm. He would not care about the Buddha clan at all. But now that Gu Fei had appeared out of nowhere, the Buddha race could finally see hope. The Buddha race could not wait any longer. Tell me, what should we do? The Heavenly Buddha Supreme looked at all the Buddha Supremes present and said, if Gu Fei wants the myriad Buddha mountain, we will give it to him. Heavenly Dragon Buddha said, that is the foundation of our Buddha race. It concerns the legacy of our Buddha race. How can we give the myriad Buddha mountain to Gu Fei? A Buddhist venerable objected directly. A faint Buddhist light shone from his body. Within the Buddhist light, the shadow of a golden tiger could be vaguely seen. This was Buddhist Supreme Earth Tiger of the Buddhist race. The Heavenly Dragon and Earthly Tiger Buddhist venerables had never been on good terms. Earth Tiger, if you want to stay here forever, that's your business. I don't want to be trapped here. Heavenly Dragon Buddha said angrily. That's right. Our Buddha race has been guarding over this extreme demon cave for far too long. A Buddhist venerable sighed. Many Buddhist supremacies didn't want to continue guarding Extreme Demon Cave. After all, guarding Extreme Demon Cave caused the Buddhist race to lose too many things. The group of Buddhist supremacies had a body full of skills, but they could not take a single step out of the Buddhist land. The minority obeys the majority. Those who agree to give the myriad Buddha mountain to Gu Fei, raise your hands. The Heavenly Buddha Supreme said solemnly. I agree. Sky Dragon Buddha raised his hand. Then came the Earth Buddhist Supreme and the Human Buddhist Supreme. Among the 10 Buddhist supremacies of the Buddhist race, the long-browed Buddhist Supreme wasn't present. Among the remaining Buddhist supremacies, 3 of them raised their hands in agreement. The Heavenly Buddha Supreme didn't express his opinion. Now, 5 Buddhist Supremes were in favor and 3 were against. At this time, all the Buddhist Supremes in the hall were looking at the Heavenly Buddha Supreme. At this time, the usually calm Heavenly Buddha Supreme was sweating. His vote was crucial. As long as he agreed, even if Long Eyebrows Buddha Supreme voted against it, it would be useless. Agree or disagree? It was up to him to decide. Senior Brother Blessed Buddha, hurry up. Heavenly Dragon Buddha said anxiously. Everyone stared at the Heavenly Buddha nervously. At this time, the Heavenly Buddha Supreme was really depressed. He hesitated for a while and finally raised his hand. Haha, Senior Brother is wise. The Heavenly Dragon Buddha laughed. Earth Tiger Buddha's face was gloomy. Once the myriad Buddha mountain was given away, it wouldn't be able to suppress the Earth Dragon. Let's see what you guys will do then. Earth Tiger, you're so short-sighted. So what if we lose Mount Myriad Buddha or even this Taoist right ground? We can always choose another place and build another Taoist right ground. At that time, without the Extreme Demon Cave's interference, it'll be easy for our Buddhist tribe to develop again. The Heavenly Dragon Buddha was really happy. Getting rid of the Extreme Devil Cave was his lifelong wish. Now, this wish was about to be realized. You, Earth Tiger Buddha wanted to say something, but in the end, he didn't. In fact, what the Heavenly Dragon Buddha said was not without reason. At this time, Long Eyebrows Buddha returned with Gu Fei and the others. When the Buddhist Supremes in the hall saw Long Eyebrows Buddha walk in with a frown, they knew that something bad was about to happen. As for Gu Fei, he was still as arrogant as ever. However, the other 3 fellas behind him were incomparably elated. That was because they had all obtained great benefits from the treasure-hiding paradise of the Buddha race. However, there was nothing in the grotto heaven of the Buddhist race that caught Gu Fei's eye. Therefore, if the Buddhist race did not agree to his request, he would just leave. Gu Fei would never do something like helping others for free. How did your discussion go? Gu Fei asked after sitting down. The myriad Buddha mountain is yours. The Heavenly Buddha Supreme said solemnly. All right, in that case, I can't show you anything. As Gu Fei spoke, he flipped his right hand and the 9 Paths Cauldron appeared in his hand. Go. With a wave of his hand, the 9 Paths Cauldron in Gu Fei's hand flew out and disappeared before everyone's eyes in the blink of an eye. Very quickly, a loud sound was heard. The group of Buddhist Supremes rushed out of the 1000 Buddha Hall. When they looked up, they saw a cloud of dust in the direction of the Extreme Devil Cave. A monstrous demonic aura was rushing out of the cave. Wang! The void trembled as a huge cauldron descended from the sky, suppressing the demonic aura. Boom! With a loud bang, the 9 Paths Cauldron suppressed the Extreme Devil Cave. The entire void and the entire region shook. Mountains collapsed one after another in the Extreme Devil Mountain. Dust rose into the sky and covered the sun. It was as terrifying as the end of the world. This, the group of Buddhist Supremes was shocked to their core. Gu Fei suppressed the Extreme Devil Cave directly? This was like a dream to the group of Buddhist Supremes. Rumble. A powerful demonic energy erupted from the Extreme Devil Cave. Terrifying demonic sounds could be heard from the void. Dao friend Gu, this, the Heavenly Buddha Supreme was shocked. If Gu Fei failed to suppress the Extreme Devil Cave, The demonic aura within the cave would explode. The entire Buddhist land would be in for a calamity. Don't worry, it's fine. The huge cauldron that was several times bigger than a mountain only shook a few times before it stopped moving. The demonic energy that erupted from the extreme devil cave was suppressed by the huge cauldron just like that. Jiyu Fei single-handedly suppressed the extreme devil cave. This scene was too surreal. Everyone felt that it was unreal. Especially the Buddhist supremes. No one knew better than them how terrifying the extreme devil cave was. The extreme devil cave had been a huge threat to the Buddhist race and even the entire void realm for countless years. Now, Jiyu Fei's extreme devil subduing cauldron surprised and delighted the Buddhist supremes. Master is too awesome. Xiao Ya and Long Xiaoju were stunned by the scene in front of them. Chapter 52-64. Jiyu Fei's demon suppression cauldron directly suppressed the demon sovereigns of the Buddhist race. Everyone was dumbfounded. The extreme demon cave that the Buddhist race had failed to destroy for countless years was suppressed by Jiyu Fei just like that. How was this possible? However, the truth was the truth. The truth would not lie. Why? What do you think of my gift? Jiyu Fei crossed his arms and said proudly. Daoist Jiyu is indeed amazing. The Buddhist supremacies all gave Jiyu Fei a thumbs up with fawning expressions. If the followers of the Buddhist supremacies were to see this scene, their jaws would definitely drop. The Buddhist supremacies of the Buddhist race were the incarnations of the high and mighty Buddha. But now, they were acting like underlings of Jiyu Fei, purposely sucking up to him. Seeing that Jiyu Fei had suppressed the extreme demon cave with a single cauldron, the Buddhist supremacies felt that their choice was not wrong. Not only was it not wrong, it was absolutely correct. As long as Jiyu Fei could get rid of the extreme demon cave, it would definitely be worth it even if they had to give him the myriad Buddha mountain. Since I've expressed my sincerity, it's time for you guys to show your sincerity. Jiyu Fei suddenly said to the heavenly Buddhist supreme and the rest. What? This? The Buddhist supremacies were stunned when they heard this. Daoist Jiyu, the myriad Buddha mountain is already yours. What else do you want? The long-browed Buddhist supreme asked with a dumbfounded expression. Nothing much. I just want to cultivate on this myriad Buddha mountain for 3 days. After 3 days, I'll destroy the extreme demon cave. How about that? Jiyu Fei suddenly smiled. Is that so? The Buddhist supremacies instantly heaved a sigh of relief. If Jiyu Fei were to demand an exorbitant price again, they would be in deep trouble. Then we'll see how Daoist Jiyu destroys the extreme demon cave in 3 days. The heavenly Buddhist supreme placed his palms together and said to Jiyu Fei. Junior brother Long Brows, please arrange a place for Daoist Jiyu and the rest. We'll be going back to cultivate. The Earth Buddhist supreme nodded at Jiyu Fei, then turned around and walked into the 10,000 Buddha hall. Since everything had been discussed, all the Buddhist supremacies found an excuse and left. Only the long-browed Buddhist supreme still had a bitter expression. If the heavenly Buddha supreme and the rest knew that the treasures of the Buddha race's hidden treasure grotto heaven were taken away by Xiao Ya, Long Xiaoju, and the rest, all the Buddha supremes would vomit blood. The Buddhist race's hidden treasure grotto heaven had countless treasures. Now, almost half of them had been taken away by Jiyu Fei's disciples and subordinates. The Buddhist race had suffered a huge loss. The long-browed Buddhist supreme saw the Black Dragon King as Jiyu Fei's subordinate. Jiyu Fei and the others were arranged to stay in the best guest room on Myriad Buddha Mountain. It was a courtyard, and it was also the best courtyard on Myriad Buddha Mountain. Only the most precious guests of the Buddhist race could stay in this courtyard. Master, why didn't you take this Buddha mountain away immediately? Jiyu Fei was sipping tea under a big tree in the courtyard. This time, the long-browed Buddhist supreme had personally brought over the best tea of the Buddhist race, the Buddha Epiphyllum tea. Only Buddhist supremes could enjoy this tea. Even the Buddhist monarchs of the Buddhist race weren't qualified to enjoy it. You guys should try this Buddha tea too. Jiyu Fei didn't reply to Xiao Ya. Instead, he invited them to drink the tea. Master, can you really destroy the extreme demon cave? Long Xiaoju was very curious. One must know that the extreme demon cave was the most ominous place in the Void Realm. For countless years, it had been a constant threat to the entire Void Realm. No one had ever dared to say that they could destroy the extreme demon cave. Even the one in the towering heavenly palace didn't dare to say that. One must know that it was the origin of the Void Realm's devils. What do you think? Ji Yufei smiled. This, Long Xiaoju also smiled. She couldn't guess what her master was thinking. Given her master's cultivation, he had some confidence in destroying the extreme demon cave. However, it was still the origin of devils that had existed for countless years. You guys have to be more careful here. Don't act recklessly, understand? Ji Yufei glanced at the two disciples before picking up his teacup and taking a sip. Yes, master. Xiao Ya and Long Xiaoju hurriedly replied. Oh right, Xiao Ya, make a trip to the sky race and invite your junior sister, Yuxian. Ji Yufei suddenly said to Xiao Ya. Yes, master. Xiao Ya left with the order. Master, when did you accept the sky race as disciples? Long Xiaoju asked in shock. The sky race was a super race that wasn't any weaker than the Buddha race. In Middle Sky, the Buddha race basically didn't care about external affairs because of the existence of the extreme demon cave. Therefore, the overlord of Middle Sky was the sky race. Of course, the Buddha race's defense of the extreme demon cave won them the respect of the world. However, although the Buddha race guarded the extreme demon cave, they also received great benefits. With the 1000 Buddha mountain protecting the Earth's dragon vein, the Buddha race could use the endless spiritual energy to cultivate. The Buddha race's dragon vein was the best in the entire Middle Sky. Countless people were jealous of it. If it wasn't for the Buddha race guarding the extreme demon cave, the #1 dragon vein in Middle Sky would have been snatched by others. One had to know that there were at least 2 powers stronger than the Buddha race in the Void Realm. There was no need to talk about the Ling Tian Palace. Just the Ling Tian Palace Lord alone could make the Buddha race beg for mercy. There was also the Sky race. Yuxian was a ruthless character. Now, the Buddha race wanted to destroy the extreme demon cave in one go. They didn't hesitate to give the 1000 Buddha mountain that they had refined for countless years to Ji Yufei. However, with Ji Yufei's strength alone, he might be able to suppress the extreme demon cave, but he didn't have the strength to flatten it. Therefore, he needed to ask for help. However, Yuxian was his disciple. This couldn't be considered an invitation. However, it seemed that even if Yuxian came, it still wouldn't be enough. Xiaoju, return to the southern barbarians and look for heaven shaman priest Wu Lingxue. Ask her to help me pass a message. Tell her that I want to see the Witch King. Ji Yufei said to Long Xiaoju. Master, you want to invite the Witch King? When Long Xiaoju heard this, he couldn't help but be shocked. The Witch King had been out of seclusion for quite some time. However, no one had seen the Witch King. Now, Master wanted to find the Witch King. Could it be that Master had a relationship with the Witch King? What are you waiting for? Hurry up and go. Ji Yufei urged. Yes. Long Xiaoju hurriedly retreated. That should be enough. Ji Yufei had a well-thought-out plan in mind and continued to enjoy his tea. To cultivators, 3 days was just the blink of an eye. However, these 3 days felt like years to the Buddhist supremacies. On the second day, the arrival of a person shocked the entire Buddhist land. All the Buddhist supremacies came out to welcome this person. To be able to make all the Buddhist supremacies come out to welcome her, she naturally wasn't an ordinary person. She was the primogenitor of the sky race, Yuxian. However, Yuxian came to the 1000 Buddha mountain to see one person, Ji Yufei. Chapter 5265. Yuxian's arrival shocked the entire Buddhist clan. No one expected that Yuxian would come to Myriad Buddha mountain to see Ji Yufei. The Buddhist supremes could only accompany Yuxian to the gate of Ji Yufei's courtyard. The gate wasn't closed because no one dared to harass Ji Yufei. Moreover, no one would harass Ji Yufei because this was Qianfu Mountain. Who would dare to cause trouble in the lair of the Buddhist clan? Moreover, Ji Yufei was a ruthless person. Daoist Ji Yu, we have guests. Long-browed Buddhist Supreme said loudly. Yuziana snorted and glared at long-browed Buddhist Supreme. This. Senior you are, long-browed Buddhist Supreme was scared by Yuziana's glare. One should know that Yuziana was the primogenitor of the Sky Clan. The entire Sky Clan was established by her. She was a super antique. All the Buddhist Supremes present were juniors of Yuziana. Even the primogenitor of the Sky Clan had to address her as big sister. Don't yell at my master. Yuziana said coldly. What? All the Buddhist supremacies were dumbfounded. What was going on? Jiyu Fei was actually Yuziana's master? How could this be possible? This Yuziana was a super antique. Who in the entire Void Realm could be Yuziana's master? Just as all the Buddhist Supremes were dumbfounded, a voice came from the courtyard. You're here. Come in. Yuziana was overjoyed when she heard that. She immediately walked into the courtyard. The rest of you can disperse. The voice from inside continued. The Buddhist Supremes outside were speechless. They were of noble status, but now they were being ordered around. This made all the Buddhist Supremes so depressed that they wanted to vomit blood. However, these Buddhist Supremes had no choice but to turn around and leave. Master, why are you with these baldies? Yuziana saw Jiyu Fei drinking tea at the stone table under the tree as soon as she entered the courtyard. She walked to the stone table and sat down. She poured herself a cup of tea and drank it in one gulp. Hey, those baldies from the Buddha clan are actually using this tea to welcome you, revered master? Yuziana said in surprise. This tea is not bad. Jiyu Fei nodded. Yuziana was speechless. This was the best tea of the Buddha race and outsiders wouldn't even be able to drink it. Master, what are you looking for me for? Don't tell me you're treating me to tea, Yuziana asked. Given Jiyu Fei's current cultivation base, in this world, only that person from the Lingtian Palace would be able to contend against him. Haha, my disciple is smart. Jiyu Fei smiled. Master, just say it. What is it? Yuziana looked at Jiyu Fei. If it was an ordinary matter, this cheap master of hers would definitely not ask her for help. Could it be that revered master has designs on the Buddha clan? Yuziana guessed. Wrong. Jiyu Fei shook his head. Then what's the matter? What good things could those baldies have? Yuziana muttered. Those baldies truly don't have anything good apart from this myriad Buddha mountain. Jiyu Fei said calmly. What? You want this myriad Buddha mountain? Yuziana was shocked when she heard this. This myriad Buddha mountain was the lifeblood of the Buddha race. To think that Jiyu Fei wanted it. Wasn't he going against the Buddha race? That wasn't right. If this cheap master wanted to go against the Buddha race, why would those baldies treat this cheap master so politely? Yuziana couldn't understand. She really couldn't understand. Of course there's a condition. Jiyu Fei said. What condition could make the Buddha race give the myriad Buddha mountain to you? Could it be? Yuziana finally guessed it. She was so shocked that her mouth was agape as she looked at Jiyu Fei in shock. Hehe, this disciple of mine is truly a smart person. Jiyu Fei smiled. But, is this possible? You probably don't know the origin of this extreme devil cave. Yuziana was truly shocked. That was the extreme devil cave. What is the origin of the extreme devil cave? Tell me about it. Jiyu Fei was also curious. The existence of the extreme devil cave wasn't without reason. Everything had a history, and the extreme devil cave was no exception. Could it be that Yuziana knew the origin of the extreme devil cave? The devil origin of the extreme devil cave doesn't belong to this world. It's impossible to destroy the devil origin with the power of this world. Yuziana said with a solemn expression. So the extreme devil cave is also from the upper realm. Jiyu Fei came to a sudden realization. It was no wonder that no one in the Mirage could destroy the extreme demon cave, the Mirage's devil origin ground. Che, you and I aren't from this world. If we work together, can't we deal with the extreme devil cave? Jiyu Fei said disapprovingly. Yuziana didn't say anything. She had never thought of attacking the extreme devil cave. The existence of the extreme devil cave wouldn't affect her. After all, she had to leave the void realm eventually. I've also invited someone else. Ji Yufei glanced at Yuziana and said. Who? It can't be Palace Lord Ling Tian, right? Yuziana looked at Ji Yufei in shock. You're thinking too much. Ji Yufei shook his head. Yuziana really couldn't think of anyone in the void realm that could catch Ji Yufei's attention. You'll know when she comes. Ji Yufei pretended to be mysterious. I want to see who this person is. Yuziana's eyes lit up. Following the arrival of Yuziana, the Buddhist supremacies of the Buddha race finally believed that Ji Yufei was here for real. This was because Ji Yufei had actually invited Yuziana over. However, what shocked the Buddhist supremes even more was that the Sky race's primogenitor, Yuziana, was actually Ji Yufei's disciple. If this news were to spread, it would shake the entire Sky Center and even the Void Realm. But now, the Buddhist race was only concerned about one thing. Would Ji Yufei be able to deal with the extreme devil cave? On the third day, the Witch Emperor still hadn't appeared. In fact, Ji Yufei didn't know if he could find the Witch Emperor. However, intuition told Ji Yufei that the Witch Emperor and the Heaven Shaman should be in contact. Forget it, I'm not going to wait anymore. 3 days had passed. Ji Yufei and Yuziana left Qianfu Mountain and headed straight for the Extreme Devil Mountain. At this time, there wasn't a trace of Devil Qi in the Extreme Devil Mountain. All the Devil Qi had been suppressed by Ji Yufei's 9 Paths Cauldron. Even the demonic beasts in the Extreme Devil Mountain were much more well-behaved. The experts from the Buddha race opened up the array, allowing Ji Yufei and Yuziana to enter the Extreme Devil Mountain. They directly arrived outside the Extreme Devil Cave and saw a gigantic cauldron that was even larger than a mountain. On top of the cauldron, 9 types of great Tao interweaved, firmly suppressing the Extreme Devil Cave. However, the Extreme Devil Cave continued to erupt with incomparably powerful Devil Qi to attack the 9 Paths Cauldron. With each collision, the 9 Paths Cauldron trembled. The mountain ridges around the 9 Paths Cauldron had already collapsed. There were even deep abyss cracks on the ground. It's about to begin. Chapter 5266. The 9 Paths Cauldron was an eternal Tao artifact. 9 types of great Tao powers condensed in the cauldron, reaching an incredible state of balance. Once these 9 types of great Tao powers were unleashed, it would be no laughing matter. Because of this, the 9 Paths Cauldron could suppress the Extreme Devil Cave for 3 days and 3 nights. However, Ji Yufei knew that the 9 Paths Cauldron couldn't suppress the Extreme Devil Cave for long. 3 or 4 days would be the limit. At this time, the 9 Paths Cauldron, which was several times bigger than a mountain, was constantly shaking. 9 types of great Tao powers intertwined on the cauldron, and countless Tao patterns appeared. Above the cauldron, a figure was sitting cross-legged. At first glance, that person looked exactly like Ji Yufei. Master, this Tao artifact of yours is not bad. Up in the sky, Yuziana smiled at Ji Yufei and said, Of course, don't you know who refined it? Ji Yufei had a proud look on his face. This was the first time Yuziana had seen the power of the 9 Paths Cauldron. Back in the ancestral land of the Sky Clan, the 9 Paths Cauldron wasn't even at its full power. At this time, the 9 types of great Tao powers intertwined on the 9 Paths Cauldron. The surrounding void was collapsing and then being repaired. It was as if the world was being created. Roar. Suddenly, an angry roar came from the Extreme Devil Cave. A powerful demonic power erupted from the depths of the cave and directly collided with the 9 Paths Cauldron. Boom! With a loud bang, the huge 9 Paths Cauldron was knocked several dozen feet off the ground by this demonic power. Then, it smashed heavily on the ground. Under such an impact, the entire ground undulated like waves, and everything on the ground was directly shattered into pieces. Up in the sky, the Buddhist race's Buddhist supremacies, who were staring nervously at Extreme Devil Cave, were also shocked by this sudden development. That scared me to death. The long-browed Buddhist supreme wiped the cold sweat off his bald head. If the demonic aura that had been accumulating in the Extreme Devil Cave for countless years erupted, it would be a disaster for the entire Buddhist land. They didn't know if a ruthless person like Jiyu Fei would be able to completely solve this problem. Even the heavenly, earthly, and mortal Buddhist supremacies wore solemn expressions. That was because this time around, the Buddha race was truly giving it their all. To think that they would even give away the myriad Buddha mountains. The Buddha race no longer had a path of retreat. If they were to fail, the Buddha race would truly suffer a huge loss. Master, your cauldron doesn't seem to be able to hold it anymore. Yu Xian smiled. This extreme devil cave was formed from a ball of devil origin from the upper realm that had fallen into the middle realm. How could this upper realm devil origin be destroyed so easily? The only way to destroy the devil origin of Extreme Devil Cave was if that unknown master of hers returned. As for whether Jiyu Fei also had such a supreme technique, Yu Xian didn't know. After all, Jiyu Fei didn't belong to this world. Let's get started, Jiyu Fei said disapprovingly. In the next moment, his figure flickered and appeared on the nine-path cauldron. Then, the cauldron's soul entered the body of the cauldron. Boom. Under Jiyu Fei's personal control, the nine-path cauldron's power instantly multiplied. It directly suppressed the demonic energy that erupted from the depths of the Extreme Devil Cave. Jiyu Fei stood on the nine-path cauldron like the ruler of heaven and earth. His aura was earth-shattering. Even Yu Xian's beautiful eyes lit up when she saw this scene. Boom. Another loud sound rang out. The huge nine-path cauldron actually sank a huge chunk under Jiyu Fei's foot. Only the top half of the cauldron was exposed. This time, the Extreme Devil Cave was in an uproar. After being suppressed by the nine-path cauldron for 3 days, the Heaven Extermination Evil Lord was already in a bad mood. However, in these 3 days, the Heaven Extermination Evil Lord hid in the depths of the Extreme Devil Cave and refined a demonic body for his own use. The demonic bodies here were nourished by demonic energy for countless years and were stronger than any demonic weapon. In the Extreme Devil Cave, there was no lack of demon corpses or human corpses that had fallen into the demonic path. Especially the demonic corpses in the depths of the Extreme Devil Cave. They had been nourished by the demonic energy for countless years. However, these demonic corpses were extremely difficult to refine. Otherwise, the Night Devil wouldn't have been trapped in the Extreme Devil Cave for so long. The Night Devil's devil soul possessed a demonic corpse. However, he was unable to refine this demonic corpse. This was because this demonic corpse was too strong when it was alive. Even after its death, it still resisted the refinement of other devil souls. After the Heaven Extermination Evil Lord's remnant soul returned to the Extreme Devil Cave, he had no choice but to refine those demonic corpses. However, refining demonic corpses was extremely difficult. At this point, he had no other choice. That bastard, the Heaven Extermination Evil Lord and the Night Devil knew that they were running out of time. This was because Jiyu Fei had already made his move. Suppressing the Extreme Devil Cave with the nine-path cauldron was a clear indication of Jiyu Fei's attitude. At this time, Jiyu Fei finally made his move. Rumble. The entire Extreme Devil Cave was shaking. The demonic energy that had been condensed for countless years started to boil. Just as Jiyu Fei started working, the aura of the entire Extreme Devil Cave seemed to have changed. The Heaven Extermination Evil Lord, who was condensing a devil soul and refining a demonic corpse, suddenly took control of the demonic corpse he wanted to refine. Could it be? The Heaven Extermination Evil Lord was incomparably shocked. He knew that there was a forbidden ground in the depths of the Extreme Devil Cave that even he couldn't enter. There seemed to be an unimaginably terrifying devil sleeping there. At this time, a wave of devil consciousness instantly enveloped the entire Extreme Devil Cave. That forbidden existence has been awakened. The Night Devil also took control of the demonic corpse he had chosen. This caused him to be indescribably shocked. One had to know that he couldn't refine this demonic corpse even after spending thousands of years. All of this was too strange. The entire Extreme Devil Cave was actually under the control of a supreme demonic will. What, at this time, Jiyu Fei, who was standing on the Nine Dao's cauldron, also felt this demonic will. His expression instantly turned solemn. Although this demonic will wasn't very strong, to the point that those with weaker cultivation wouldn't be able to feel it, it still caused Ji Fei's heart to palpitate. Could it be that the devil origin in the extreme devil cave has already developed its own consciousness? Ji Fei said solemnly. Ayo, it's been so long. Could that devil still be alive? That's impossible. Yu Xian'er's expression was incomparably solemn. This is going to be troublesome. Yu Xian'er didn't have high hopes for Ji Fei from the start. If this was the case, it would be extremely difficult to destroy the devil origin in the extreme devil cave. However, since they were already here, they might as well give it a try. At this time, terrifying roars rang out from within the extreme devil cave. Very quickly, several demonic figures walked out of the cave. Even the power of Ji Fei's 9 Dao's cauldron couldn't suppress these demonic corpses. Chapter 5267. That is, how many years has it been? These things have never been used. How come now? The Buddhist supremacies who were watching from afar were incomparably shocked when they saw the devil corpses rushing out of the extreme devil cave. The devil corpses that rushed out of the extreme devil cave had truly frightened the Buddhist supremacies. This was because these devil corpses were incomparably strong. Moreover, even the strongest Buddha weapons could not harm these devil corpses at all. There were also records of devil corpses in the ancient records of the Buddha race. In the distant past, a devil corpse suddenly rushed out of the extreme devil cave. It directly broke the seal of the Buddha race and killed its way into the Buddha land. Even though it was just a demonic corpse, countless living beings had died in the hands of this demonic corpse. In the end, all the Buddhist supremacies of the Buddha race were alarmed. The heaven, earth, and man supremacies fought with it. In the end, they could only use the power of the myriad Buddha mountain to temporarily seal the devil corpse. Then, they suppressed the devil corpse in the dragon vein of the myriad Buddha mountain. Using the dragon vein and the supreme Buddha energy of the myriad Buddha mountain, they finally killed the devil corpse. Just one devil corpse was enough to wreak havoc in the Buddha land. Now, a large group of devil corpses actually rushed out of the extreme devil cave. It was no wonder they were shocked. Under the leadership of the heaven, earth, and man supremacies, the group of Buddhist supremacies immediately activated the seal of the Buddha race, sealing the area of 10,000 miles around the extreme devil cave. Those big baldies. Yu Xian'er was speechless. Those fellows were simply throwing stones at a person when he was down. They actually sealed them as well. At this moment, the terrifying devil corpses had already arrived. Scram, this old lady has no time to play with you. Yu Xian'er waved her sleeves and the devil corpses that were rushing towards her were directly sent flying. All of them smashed onto the 9 Dao cauldrons before rolling on the ground. With just a casual wave of her sleeves, Yu Xian'er dealt with more than a dozen devil corpses. Such combat strength shocked the Buddhist supremacies. The celestial primogenitor was truly amazing. However, why would such an amazing celestial primogenitor acknowledge Ji Fei as her master? Ji Fei also made his move. Scram! Ji Fei exhaled and shouted. The killing power of sound erupted, causing the void to tremble. The dozen or so demonic corpses that were charging at him were directly sent flying by the sound waves. The demonic will that possessed the devil corpses was directly dispersed by Ji Fei's sound-killing technique. These devil corpses turned back into corpses and fell to the ground, motionless. Just a mere demonic will. If you don't show your true body, what can you do to me? Ji Fei stomped heavily on the 9 Paths cauldron. In the next moment, the 9 Paths cauldron pressed down again, and the demonic energy was destroyed by the power of the 9 Paths little fellow of the human race. You're too arrogant. At this moment, a silhouette slowly walked out of the extreme devil cave. This person's entire body was shrouded in devilish qi, and his blood-red eyes stared fixedly at Ji Fei, who was standing on the 9 Paths cauldron. You're quite a lucky guy. With a single glance, Ji Fei could tell that this person was the Heaven Extermination Evil Lord. This person had no choice but to use a secret technique to escape after being beaten up by him. Who would have thought that this person would recover in just a few days? Furthermore, his cultivation seemed to be even stronger than before. A puny human dares to behave atrociously here. Courting death. The Heaven Extermination Evil Lord sneered. Ha ha, Since I can defeat you once, I can defeat you a second time. Ji Yufei laughed out loud. Is that so? Then let me see how you're going to defeat me. The Heaven Extermination Evil Lord stomped on the ground and his entire body soared into the sky, charging towards Ji Yufei on the Nine Paths Cauldron. Devilish world refinement. The Heaven Extermination Evil Lord bellowed and grabbed at Ji Yufei with his right hand. A black hole immediately appeared above Ji Yufei's head. A powerful devouring force gushed out of the black hole as though it was going to devour the entire world. However, this devouring force was unable to devour Ji Yufei. Both his legs were firmly planted on the Nine Paths Cauldron, and the devouring force from the black hole did not even move the corner of his clothes. Scram! Ji Yufei repeated the same trick and let out another furious roar. The terrifying killing force of sound exploded, and the void was shaken by the sound waves, creating ripples after ripples. These ripples spread out in all directions. The black hole that was enveloping Ji Yufei was directly dispersed by this roar of Ji Yufei, and countless devil patterns dissipated in the void. Even the Heaven Extermination Evil Lord was shaken by the sound waves, and his devil soul was almost shaken out of his devil corpse. This guy, the Heaven Extermination Evil Lord, was shocked and infuriated. Kill. The Heaven Extermination Evil Lord rushed onto the Nine Paths Cauldron and punched at Ji Yufei. This devil body of his was extremely strong, and even the strongest Buddhist weapon could not do anything to him. He wanted to use the strength of his devil body to fight against Ji Yufei. This punch of his was so strong that it shook the void. Ji Yufei laughed coldly. He clenched his right hand and punched out. Bam! The two fists collided instantly. With their fists as the center, a transparent ripple that was visible to the naked eye spread out in all directions. The two figures stood on the Nine Paths Cauldron, and neither of them took a step back. This is interesting. Ji Yufei laughed. This guy was not bad to be able to block his punch. If the opponent was too weak, it would be too boring. One had to know that with Ji Yufei's current cultivation and battle strength, it was not easy to find a good opponent and have a good fight. Interesting. The Heaven Extermination Evil Lord was really angered. This guy actually dared to look down on him. This made him go crazy. Perhaps I can have some fun today. As Ji Yufei spoke, he punched out and forced the Heaven Extermination Evil Lord to take a few steps back. Following which, Ji Yufei casually attacked. He waved his fist and smashed it at the Heaven Extermination Evil Lord. He did not use any moves or battle techniques at all. Shadow Doppelganger. The Heaven Extermination Evil Lord roared. In the next instant, his figure turned blurry. Following which, countless devil shadows appeared around Ji Yufei. TSK, you want to play this move with me? Ji Yufei was really speechless. The moment his eternal grade spiritual will was released, the true body of the Heaven Extermination Evil Lord had nowhere to hide. Since this guy wanted to play, Lin Fan would play with him. Ji Yufei pretended to be flustered, causing the Heaven Extermination Evil Lord to think that he did not know that the devil shadow was his true body. When the Heaven Extermination Evil Lord saw this, he was naturally surprised and delighted. He immediately appeared behind Ji Yufei and wanted to sneak an attack on Ji Yufei. Who would have thought that Ji Yufei would suddenly turn around and punch the Heaven Extermination Evil Lord's face? This punch caused the Heaven Extermination Evil Lord's face to split open. Ha ha! Isn't this good? Chapter 5268. The Heaven Extermination Evil Lord thought that he would be able to confuse Ji Yufei with his shadow doppelganger before launching a sneak attack on Ji Yufei. Who would have thought that Ji Yufei would launch a sneak attack on him? Ji Yufei landed a vicious punch on his face. Even though the Heaven Exterminating Evil Lord had possessed an incomparably powerful demonic corpse, he was still punched in the face by Ji Yufei. It was extremely fascinating. The Heaven Extermination Evil Lord screamed miserably as he was sent flying. He crashed into a mountain several miles away, causing rubble and dust to fill the air. Seeing this scene, Yuziana was speechless. This master of hers really liked to slap faces. Even further away, the Buddhist supremacies outside the Buddha race's seal were also stunned. The combat strength displayed by Ji Yufei was simply too shocking. That was a peerless demonic corpse, yet it was sent flying by a single punch from Ji Fei. Even the heavenly Buddha Supreme, who had the strongest cultivation and combat strength among the Buddhist supremacies, did not have such capabilities. Does it feel good? Ji Fei laughed heartily. Roar. The heaven extermination evil lord roared as he rushed up from the rubble. Boundless demonic chi exploded from his body, and the injuries on his face healed rapidly. It had to be said that this new devil body of the heaven extermination evil lord was truly incomparably powerful. The demonic chi that exploded from the heaven extermination evil lord's body formed an incomparably huge demonic shadow. The demonic shadow roared towards the sky, and its demonic might shocked the world. What are you playing so many tricks for? As Ji Fei spoke, he flipped his right hand, and a devil bead appeared in his hand. My devil bead. When the heaven extermination evil lord saw the heaven extermination demon bead in Ji Fei's hand, he was shocked and furious. This thing is mine, you idiot. Ji Fei directly raised his middle finger at the heaven extermination evil lord. Ji Fei circulated his mystic technique, and the heaven extermination demon bead in his hand immediately emitted streams of pure demonic chi. The demonic chi actually entered his body, and he devoured it. He actually wanted to refine the heaven extermination demon bead in front of the heaven extermination evil lord. You bastard. The heaven extermination evil lord was driven mad. His heaven extermination demon bead was something that he had spent an endless amount of effort to refine successfully. Now, this fella actually dared to refine the demon bead in front of him. Wasn't this a vicious slap to his face? Yu Xian couldn't help but frown. His cheap master was so powerful that he could even refine demonic chi. This Ji Fei, the Buddhist supremacies guarding the Buddha formation were all staring at Extreme Devil Cave. When they saw that Ji Fei was actually swallowing devil chi, they were shocked. In the Void Realm, who would dare to refine the demon chi? If they were careless, they would be corroded by the demonic nature of the demon chi, and they would be in danger of suffering from chi deviation at any time. However, Ji Fei was able to devour and refine the demon energy without any scruples. This caused all the big shots in the Void Realm to be dumbfounded. You want to take back your devil orb? Come, as long as you have the ability. Ji Fei hooked his finger at the enraged heaven exterminating evil lord. Kill. The heaven exterminating evil lord's roar shook the heavens and earth. He attacked Ji Fei in a frenzy. Blood-colored devil claws tore through the heavens and split the earth as they came crashing down on Ji Fei's head. Hee. Ji Fei held onto the devil orb with his right hand and punched upwards. Boom. A dull sound rang out, and the blood-colored devil transformation dissipated. This was an attack that combined his own strength and the power of the devil orb. The fist force was incomparably violent. I'll fight it out with you. Streaks of bloody light shot out from the heaven exterminating evil lord's body. Each streak of bloody light turned into a blood-colored devil chain that wrapped around Ji Fei. These were the blood devil chains formed from the devil corpse's source of demonic power. They were the soul-stealing blood devil chains. This was the trump card that the heaven exterminating evil lord was famous for. As long as one was wrapped by the blood devil chains, there would only be one outcome: the destruction of both body and soul. 9 blood devil chains instantly wrapped around Ji Fei tightly, after which, the blood devil chains exploded with terrifying blood-colored demonic fire. This was the demonic fire that the heaven extermination evil lord had created by drawing upon the demonic corpse's demonic origin. It was capable of burning everything in the world to ashes. Even an Emperor Realm expert would be destroyed in body and soul if they were caught in this demonic fire. This trump card of the heaven exterminating evil lord could definitely threaten an unparalleled expert at the transcendent Emperor Realm. However, it was a pity that his opponent was Ji Fei. Ji Fei let out a cold laugh. The next moment, 9 types of great Tao powers rushed out of his body. Earth, water, fire, and wind were released at the same time. They immediately broke the blood devil chains on his body. A dazzling sword light of the great Tao pierced through the heaven exterminating evil lord's devil body. No matter how strong your devil body is, your father's sword Tao is not to be trifled with. after which, thunder boomed, and the power of lightning descended from the sky, drowning the heaven-exterminating evil lord in a sea of lightning. The aura of destruction filled every inch of the void. This is too ferocious. Yu Xian, who was watching from the side, was dumbfounded. Ji Yufei's series of attacks were really dazzling. He had mastered 9 types of great Tao powers, and it was as though he had become the eye of heaven and earth. Every move he made could draw upon the power of heaven and earth to strengthen him. Fighting him was simply like going against the heavens and the earth. No matter how strong the living beings in the Void Realm were, they had to survive in the Void Realm. They could not jump out of the Void Realm. As long as it was a living being in the Void Realm, it was impossible for it to surpass the power of heaven and earth in the Void Realm. Unless someone cultivated to the realm where they could shatter the void and ascend to a higher world. However, it was obvious that Ji Yufei, Yu Xian, the Shaman Emperor, and even the Lingtian Palace Master were far from that realm. When Ji Yufei's cultivation recovered to the infinite prime realm, he might be able to shatter the void and rely on his own strength to leave the void realm. But now, if he wanted to leave the void realm, he still had to rely on the trans-realm teleportation formation in the heavenly race's ancestral land. At this time, Ji Yufei displayed his prowess and beat up the heaven-extermination evil lord so badly that he covered his head and fled like a rat. He had no choice. Who asked the heaven-extermination evil lord to be so annoying? Heh. In the end, Ji Yufei stomped on the face of the heaven-extermination evil lord, causing him to fall from the sky into the extreme devil cave. And just as Ji Yufei defeated the heaven-extermination evil lord, a demonic shadow appeared behind Ji Yufei without a sound. "Master, be careful." Yu Xian saw this and exclaimed anxiously. A ray of bloodlight pierced towards Ji Yufei's back. Another sneak attack. Ji Yufei was truly enraged. That ray of bloodlight pierced his back. "Haha, you are still not dead this time?" That demonic shadow laughed proudly. However, out of the blue, Ji Yufei retaliated with a punch. Bang! With a bang, that fella's head exploded. After which, a ball of fiery energy rushed out from his body and instantly burned that fella into ashes. He pulled out the demonic weapon that was pierced into his back. It was a scarlet demonic dagger that contained a strange demonic energy. Ji Yufei only felt that a strange demonic energy was extinguishing his life force. "You want to kill me with this thing? You are underestimating me too much." Ji Yufei revolved his mystic art and directly refined the demonic energy that invaded his body. The primordial chaos chi that he cultivated could refine all the spiritual chi in the world. Chapter 5269. The Night Devil would never have imagined that he would be killed by Ji Yufei the moment he came out after obtaining a powerful demonic corpse as his demonic body. He died a miserable death. Ji Yufei punched him in the head and then burned his demonic soul and demonic body into ashes. To him, this was the most thorough way to die. The Night Devil, who had been trapped in the extreme devil cave for thousands of years, was finished just like that. "Human, you deserve to die." Within the extreme devil cave, the heaven-extermination evil lord roared in anger. In the next moment, boundless demonic chi gathered from all directions towards a demonic figure within the extreme devil cave. All the demonic chi within the extreme devil cave had been triggered. Countless demonic figures rushed out from the depths of the extreme devil cave and entered the body of the heaven-extermination evil lord. Boom! It was as though a volcano that had been dormant for countless years had suddenly erupted. An unprecedented amount of demonic energy erupted from the body of the heaven-extermination evil lord. Right now, the heaven-extermination evil lord's cultivation had definitely recovered to its peak. The peerless evil lord that looked down on the world had finally returned. "Hehe, interesting. You want to use this puppet to test me?" Ji Yufei stared at the depths of the extreme devil cave and said indifferently. "Master, you also sensed the existence of that fellow?" Yu Xian asked. "Of course, but I don't know what it is. Is it a demonic soul or a demonic origin that has developed its own consciousness?" Ji Yufei said in a low voice. "Both possibilities are possible." Yu Xian's expression was incomparably solemn. Whether it was the demonic soul of that devil from the upper realm that had yet to dissipate, or the demonic origin that had developed its own consciousness, it wasn't a good thing for them. This was because that was a demonic energy from the upper realm and not the native demonic energy of the void realm. However, Jiyu Fei and Yuziana weren't from the void realm either. No matter what it is, I will devour and refine it today. When I fully recover my cultivation, I will be able to shatter the void with a wave of my hand. At that time, I won't need your teleportation formation anymore. Jiyu Fei said proudly. Yuziana was incomparably shocked when she heard this. So this cheap master of hers actually had such an intention. Refining the upper realm's devil origin? This cheap master really dared to think. Even she did not dare to have any ideas about the devil origin in the extreme devil cave. It was a devil origin that had fallen into the void realm from the upper realm. How could it be so easy to refine? Even a ruthless character like the Heaven Destruction Evil Lord could not refine the devil origin in the depths of the extreme demon cave, let alone others. Demonic nature was something that no one dared to touch other than those who were demons. No one was willing to become a demon that slaughtered tens of thousands of lives. Bam! At this moment, there was a loud explosion. The Heaven Exterminating Evil Lord rushed out from the depths of the extreme demon cave. With a single punch, he sent the 9 Tao cauldrons suppressing the air above the extreme demon cave flying. The 9 Paths cauldron, which was even larger than a mountain, was sent flying into the air by the Heaven Exterminating Evil Lord. This, Yuziana woke up from her shock. When she saw this scene, she was stunned. That was the 9 Tao's cauldron, and it was sent flying by the Heaven Extermination Evil Lord just like that. She was very clear about the power of the 9 Tao's cauldron, because the 9 Tao's cauldron was refined in their Tian clan's territory, using the Tian clan's most precious treasure, the Heaven Shaking Seal, as its material. Finally, this is getting interesting. As Jiyu Fei spoke, his face revealed a cold smile. After which, he charged headfirst towards the Heaven Exterminating Evil Lord, who had rushed out of the extreme demon cave. 2 figures clashed together instantly, causing incomparably shocking sounds of collision to ring out continuously. These 2 experts actually did not display any mystic arts or battle skills. They just fought barehanded and engaged in close combat. When one's cultivation and battle strength reached the realm of Jiyu Fei and the Heaven Exterminating Evil Lord, no mystic arts or battle skills would be able to do anything to the other party. The most primitive and most direct attack was the most lethal to them. This was because their strength was already strong enough to destroy the physical body and even the soul. If ordinary emperors were to be hit by their fists, their bodies and souls would be destroyed instantly, and they would die without a doubt. Bam! Boom! The 2 figures moved rapidly in the void, constantly colliding. Every time they collided, transparent spatial ripples would appear in the void, and even hair-thin spatial cracks would appear. Of course, these cracks would disappear instantly, and so would the vibrations of the space. This was because the power of heaven and earth in the void realm was too strong, and even Jiyu Fei could not shatter the void. These 2 fellas, 10,000 miles away, the Heavenly Buddha Supreme and the others who were controlling the Buddha array were shocked to the extreme. These 2 fellas were simply 2 gods of destruction. Wherever they went, they destroyed everything. Even the Buddha Supreme who was sealing the extreme demon cave had more than 10 holes punched through it. In other words, the Buddha array that the Buddha race was so proud of was nothing in the eyes of Jiyu Fei and the Heaven Exterminating Evil Lord. The Buddha Supreme of the Buddha race had no choice but to activate the power of the extreme demon mountain to strengthen the Buddha array. Buddha light flashed, and countless Buddha patterns condensed. The Buddha array that was broken by Jiyu Fei and the Heaven Exterminating Evil Lord was rapidly repaired. The combat strength of these 2 was simply too strong, and they were definitely the strongest existences in the void realm. The Heavenly Buddha Supreme and the other Buddha Supremes knew that only their primogenitor could contend against these 2 fellas. These Buddha Supremes were simply not on the same level as these 2. Even Yuziana was staring at the battle, and her eyes were filled with splendor. Not bad, this is satisfying. It has been a long time since I had such an enjoyable fight. Jiyu Fei said as he attacked. He tilted his head, and the Heaven Exterminating Evil Lord's fist brushed past his ear. The mountain behind him directly exploded. At the same time, Ji Yufei's fist had also landed on the chest of the heaven-exterminating evil lord. This fella directly retreated and pulled apart the distance between him and Ji Yufei. Like a phantom, he dodged to the side and swept his right leg towards Ji Yufei's waist. Ji Yufei also lifted his leg and welcomed the leg of the heaven-exterminating evil lord. Bam! A muffled sound rang out as the two figures rapidly separated. However, they immediately clashed once more. Ji Yufei and the heaven-exterminating evil lord began to fight back and forth. For a moment, it was hard to tell who had the upper hand. "Master, stop playing around. Hurry up and finish that fella. We still have important matters to attend to," Yuziana said impatiently. She could sense that the will of the devil Dao within the extreme demon cave was gradually getting stronger. Moreover, there were faint roars coming from the depths of the extreme demon cave. This was not beneficial to Ji Yufei and Yuziana. "It's actually starting." At this time, little Ya rushed back from the celestial race. She directly arrived outside the extreme demon mountain. When she saw that the entire extreme demon mountain was enveloped by the Buddha array, she couldn't help but be shocked. "What's going on? Why didn't Master wait for us to return?" Long Xiaozhou's figure also appeared outside the extreme demon mountain. Chapter 5270. Long Xiaozhou went to invite the Witch King. However, when she returned to Southern Man, she could not even see the shadow of the Witch King. All she saw was the Heaven Witch Priest, Wu Lingxue, who was still in Southern Man's capital. Wu Lingxue was the Heaven Shaman Priest of the Sorcerer tribe. Her position in the Sorcerer tribe was second only to the 8 great Shaman Kings. However, ever since Wu Ying was killed by Ji Yufei, there were only 7 great Shaman Kings left. It was as though the true ruler of the Sorcerer race did not care about the life and death of the Witch Kings. Since she could not see the Witch King, Long Xiaozhou rushed back to culmination. Wu Lingxue followed her because she wanted to ask Ji Yufei for mercy on behalf of the Sorcerer race. However, when she found out that Ji Yufei wanted to destroy the extreme demon cave, she was dumbfounded. That was the extreme demon cave. Ordinary people would try to hide from it. Who would dare to have any ideas about it? Of course, when Wu Lingxue arrived at Culmination Buddha Land and saw the Buddha light and demonic aura intertwining outside the extreme devil mountain, she was dumbfounded. Seemed like Ji Yufei was truly bent on destroying the entire extreme demon mountain. This was simply way too shocking. To think that the Buddha race would actually seal up the entire extreme demon mountain with a formation. Wu Lingxue could feel Ji Yufei's aura coming through the Buddha formation. Ji Yufei was simply too powerful. Even the Super Buddha array that enveloped this region could not isolate his aura. Boom! Bam! Muffled crashing sounds kept coming from the extreme devil mountain. The mountains were shaking, the Super Buddha array was shaking, and the mountain ridges were collapsing continuously. This, Wu Lingxue, the Heaven Witch Priest of the Sorcerer race, was so shocked that her mind went blank. "TSK, as the Heaven Witch Priest of the Sorcerer race, haven't you seen such a big scene?" Long Xiaozhou looked at Wu Lingxue and said with disdain. Wu Lingxue ignored Long Xiaozhou as though she did not hear what she said. Long Xiaozhou was ignored by Wu Lingxue, which made her very unhappy. At this time, in the air above Extreme Devil Cave, Ji Yufei had already kept the 9 Dao cauldrons and was engaged in close combat with the heaven-destroying evil lord. At the same time, the terrifying demonic will within the Extreme Devil Cave grew stronger and stronger. The entire Extreme Devil Cave seemed like it was coming to life. Yuzian stared at the Extreme Devil Cave nervously. She knew the origins of the Extreme Devil Cave. It was formed when the Upper Realm's Devil Realm shattered the Void and fell into the Void Realm. That devil origin was extremely powerful. For countless years, no one had been able to refine or remove this ball of devil origin. At this moment, Ji Yufei was locked in a fierce battle with the heaven-exterminating evil lord. When he landed a punch on the heaven-exterminating evil lord's body, he would be able to break the tendons and bones of this fella. However, the heaven-extermination evil lord was extremely depressed. This was because when his fist landed on Ji Yufei's body, he couldn't hurt him in the slightest. At most, he could only push Ji Yufei back. How were they supposed to play? This devil body that the heaven-exterminating evil lord found in the extreme devil cave was already the strongest devil body he could find. Even an emperor weapon wouldn't be able to hurt this devil body. However, this human was able to make the heaven-exterminating evil lord doubt his life with just a pair of fists. After all, Jiyu Fei possessed the unbounded martial body. If this heaven-exterminating evil lord could injure Jiyu Fei, that would be heaven-defying. The reason why he wasn't afraid of the Ling Tian Palace Master was because even the Ling Tian Palace Master couldn't do anything to the unbounded martial body. To think that this heaven-exterminating evil lord wanted to engage in close combat with Jiyu Fei. Wasn't he just asking for it? Alright, I'm done playing with you. Jiyu Fei let out a long roar. In the next instant, it was as though he had transformed into a nine heavens true dragon. His hands were like dragon claws as he grabbed onto the leg of the heaven-exterminating evil lord. Catcher! The sound of bones shattering rang out. The right leg of the heaven-exterminating evil lord was instantly broken by Jiyu Fei. Jiyu Fei followed up with a flying kick that landed on the chest of the heaven-exterminating evil lord. The sound of bones shattering rang out once more. The heaven-exterminating evil lord cried out in pain as he was sent flying into the air by this kick. His entire chest caved in. However, one had to admit that this devil body of the heaven-exterminating evil lord was really strong. After being injured, his devil body was actually recovering rapidly. As for Jiyu Fei, he was still paying attention to the changes in the extreme devil cave. One had to know that the devil who had ambushed him previously could injure him with a scarlet dagger. It seemed like the devil source in the extreme devil cave was definitely an unbounded grade devil source. This was because only the power of an unbounded grade could injure Jiyu Fei. Your father is a martial artist. How dare you engage in close combat with your father? You're just courting death. Jiyu Fei said coldly. Let's end it here. Jiyu Fei extended his right hand and struck out with the heaven-transforming hand. The powerful heaven-transforming hand obliterated everything. The heaven-exterminating evil lord didn't even have the time to let out a scream before he was turned into ashes and dissipated in the void. His body and spirit were instantly destroyed. With the heaven-transforming hand, even the strongest devil body was melted by Jiyu Fei. This was a supreme mystique that he had created. Everything on the body of the heaven-exterminating evil lord was melted away, leaving behind only some dust. This. Yu Xian, who was watching the battle from the side, couldn't help but be moved when she saw this scene. What kind of mystique was this? How could it destroy the body and spirit of the heaven-exterminating evil lord so easily? Just as Jiyu Fei destroyed the heaven-exterminating evil lord's body and spirit, a series of roars came from the depths of the extreme devil cave. That demonic will started to fluctuate violently. Very quickly, one after another, extremely powerful devil shadows rushed out of the extreme devil cave. The entire sky was instantly shrouded by boundless devil chi. Rays of blood-colored light appeared amidst the devil chi. That was the blood-colored devil light that came from the eyes of those devil shadows. Jiyu Fei could sense 11 powerful devil auras. None of these 11 devil auras were weaker than the heaven-exterminating evil lord. It seemed like this was the true foundation of the extreme devil cave. But so what? Jiyu Fei laughed and pounced towards the demonic shadows from the sky. His martial body was like a bottomless black hole, frantically devouring the demonic power around him. The 11 devil corpses attacked Jiyu Fei viciously. This time, he allowed the attacks of the 11 devil corpses to land on him. This was because he wanted to devour the devil energy within these devil corpses. With a stretch of his right hand, his 5 fingers directly clasped onto the head of a devil corpse. In the next instant, the devil energy within this devil corpse was continuously devoured by him. Very quickly, this devil corpse turned into dust. All the devil energy in its body was devoured cleanly by Jiyu Fei. Master, you're... Yu Xian looked at this scene in shock. At this time, Jiyu Fei flashed and his right hand clasped onto the head of another devil corpse. Without any suspense, Jiyu Fei devoured all the demonic power in the demonic corpse in an instant. Chapter 5271. In the sky above the extreme devil cave, Ji Yufei displayed his prowess. First, he turned the heaven-destroying evil lord into ashes with the heavenly transformation hand. Then, he battled with 11 demonic corpses that were no weaker than the heaven-destroying evil lord. This time, he could not afford to be so wasteful. From the start, he decided to devour the demonic energy and let the attacks of these demonic corpses land on him. After all, these demonic corpses could not hurt him at all. He took the opportunity to devour the demonic energy of these demonic corpses. In the blink of an eye, 2 demonic corpses had their demonic energy devoured by Ji Yufei. Then, just like the heaven-destroying evil lord, they turned into ashes. Now, only 9 demonic corpses were left. Ji Yufei used the heaven trampling step and instantly appeared behind a demonic corpse. He directly grabbed the head of this demonic corpse. Roar! That demonic corpse struggled and roared. The demonic energy on its body exploded, and the demonic chi was vast. However, it was of no use. The demonic energy of this demonic corpse was still rapidly drained by Ji Yufei. Soon, this demonic corpse followed the footsteps of the other demonic corpses and turned into ashes. Awesome! Yu Xiana, who was watching the battle from the side, could not help but give her cheap master a thumbs up when she saw this scene. In front of Ji Yufei, these demonic corpses that gave the Buddhist race a headache were actually as weak as ants. Ji Yufei casually devoured their demonic energy and turned them into ashes. The more demonic energy he devoured, the stronger Ji Yufei's combat strength was, and the stronger his eternal realm strength was. These 11 demonic corpses all had strength that surpassed the Emperor realm. They were all terrifying demonic corpses that were half a step away from the transcendent realm. Any one of these demonic corpses could easily cause a huge headache for the Buddhist supremes. Without any suspense, Ji Yufei very quickly finished off the remaining demonic corpses. After devouring so much demonic energy, even Ji Yufei felt his body's vital energy surging. His body felt like it was about to swell up, and he felt like he had to expel it. Roar! Ji Yufei reared his head into the sky and roared. The rumbling sound waves spread out in all directions, shaking up this super formation that the Buddha race was so proud of. The great array trembled, and countless rays of Buddhist light circled around the array. A powerful demonic power filled the air. Even Long Xiaoju, Xiao Ya, and Wu Lingxue, who were outside the Super Buddha array, felt their blood and qi churning from the sound waves that came from the Buddha array. The Buddhist supremacies of the Buddha race were also indescribably shocked. Whether it was the devil qi or the devil nature, they were all completely refined by Ji Yufei. Too domineering. Yu Xian was shocked in her heart. She had never seen such an incomparably tyrannical cultivation art. Such an incomparably tyrannical person was actually not afraid of the devilish nature. As long as it wasn't a devil, all living beings would stay as far away from it as possible. This was because a devil's nature could cause a person to suffer from qi deviation and destroy their cultivation for the rest of their life. However, Ji Yufei wasn't afraid of the devil nature at all. Just at this moment, a demonic hand suddenly reached out from the extreme devil cave and grabbed hold of Ji Yufei, who was in the air above the extreme devil cave. It then dragged Ji Yufei into the extreme devil cave. What? This scene was so sudden that before Yu Xian could react, Ji Yufei had already been dragged into the extreme devil cave by that demonic hand. A ball of divine light appeared around Yu Xian's body. Using the divine light to protect her body, she rushed into the extreme devil cave. Bam! A dull thud sounded. Yu Xian, who had just rushed into the extreme devil cave, was actually sent flying out. She crashed into the Buddha array high up in the sky, causing the entire Buddha array to shake. You won't let me in? Yu Xian was enraged. In the next moment, both her hands danced as she sent palm after palm strike towards the extreme devil cave. Palm prints descended from the sky. Incomparably shocking sounds of impact rang out continuously. The devil qi that came out from the extreme devil cave was dispersed. However, under Yu Xian's frenzied attacks, the entrance of the extreme devil cave didn't budge an inch. The powerful palm force spread out, causing sand and pebbles to fly around the entrance of the extreme devil cave. You bastard, do you think this old lady doesn't know where you came from? You are just AF asterisk king loser who is hiding here to struggle on with your last breath. Yu Xian flipped her right hand, and a sword immediately appeared in her hand. Kill. Yu Xian roared and slashed at the extreme devil cave below. The immortal sword light soared tens of thousands of feet and instantly slashed at the entrance of the extreme devil cave. Swish. Devil chi surged, and dust rose into the sky. This time, the entrance of the extreme devil cave was split into two by Yu Xian's sword. The sword in Yu Xian's hand wasn't an ordinary sword. It was one of the supreme treasures of the Tian clan, the Heaven Sword. Once this Heaven Sword was used, its might was indeed formidable. Roar. A devil roar came from within the extreme devil cave. The surging devil chi condensed into a giant devil face, roaring at Yu Xian in the sky. Scram. Yu Xian slapped out with her palm, directly dispersing the devil face formed by devil chi. The Heaven Sword of the Tian clan wasn't refined by the Tian clan. It was a sword from the upper world, and it was also a sword left behind by Yu Xian's original master. Otherwise, how could an ordinary sword be able to split the entrance of the extreme devil cave in half? One had to know that even Ji Yu Fei's 9-Dao cauldron couldn't destroy the entrance of the extreme devil cave. That 9-Dao cauldron had suppressed the entrance for 3 days and 3 nights. At this time, another devil shadow rushed out from the extreme devil cave, rushing towards Yu Xian in the sky. In the depths of the extreme devil cave, Ji Yu Fei was quietly standing in front of a fist-sized devil light. His eyes were dull. At this time, Ji Yu Fei had entered a special state. His divine soul was fighting against the extreme devil cave's devil will. Although it was a battle between soul realms, it was much more dangerous than a real battle. The soul realm world was an endless void that couldn't reach the heavens nor the earth. Ji Yu Fei's divine soul was in an intense battle with a demonic shadow. Whoever lost would have their soul dispersed. The extreme devil cave's devil will wanted to use this method to seize Ji Yu Fei's unparalleled martial body. The devil will had its eyes on Ji Yu Fei's unparalleled martial body. However, Ji Yu Fei's unparalleled martial body wasn't so easily seized by the extreme devil cave's devil will. There really was a super antique hidden in the extreme devil cave's devil Dao source. This super antique had been in hibernation for God knows how long. In recent years, this super antique showed signs of awakening. Even this super antique didn't expect that a human would come to attack the extreme devil cave. This made him unable to sit still. The intruder was strong to the extreme, defeating all the puppets he controlled. Moreover, this human could actually devour and refine devil chi. This was a direct threat to him. Hence, the scene from before happened. The super antique directly grabbed Ji Yu Fei and dragged him into the depths of the extreme devil cave. Chapter 5272. In the soul-level world, Ji Yu Fei's spiritual soul was facing off against a devil soul. Hehe, I didn't expect there to be an old fart in the devil cave. Ji Yu Fei's spiritual soul was shrouded in soul light, and a powerful soul power spread out. His body seemed to be surrounded by the power of 9 great Daos, and it was as terrifying as the creation of the world. I didn't expect you to have cultivated 9 great Daos, and have even cultivated to the limitless realm. Unfortunately, you can't unleash your true strength. The devil soul said coldly. TCH, a remnant soul like you dares to be presumptuous in front of me? Ji Yu Fei's spiritual soul said disdainfully. Even a wisp of remnant soul can destroy your soul. The devil soul said indifferently. Is that so? Bring it on. Ji Yu Fei's spiritual soul said and directly attacked. Buzz. The void trembled, and the power of 9 great Daos condensed in his hand, turning into a destructive force that obliterated the devil soul in front of him. The devil soul opened its mouth and sucked, and unexpectedly swallowed the power of Ji Yu Fei's spiritual soul. Not bad. In the next moment, Ji Yu Fei's spiritual soul disappeared in the void. What? The devil soul was taken aback because he couldn't sense the aura of Ji Yu Fei's spiritual soul. That guy's spiritual soul seemed to have suddenly disappeared. How is this possible? The devil soul couldn't help but be shocked. In the next moment, a hand suddenly pierced through his chest, and with a shake of the hand, the devil soul instantly dissipated in the void. Can't even withstand a single blow. Ji Fei's spiritual soul appeared in the void. Who did you say can't withstand a single blow? The devil soul that Ji Fei's spiritual soul had scattered suddenly appeared in front of him, as if he hadn't suffered any damage at all. Very well, if I killed you in one blow, it would be too boring. Ji Fei's spiritual soul said indifferently. What kind of cultivation method was that? The devil soul asked. Not telling you. Ji Fei's spiritual soul made a face at the devil soul. Humph. As long as I refine your soul, everything you have will be mine. Mohan sneered and directly turned into a demonic dragon. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws as it pounced towards Ji Fei's divine soul. You need to have the ability to do that, Ji Fei said disdainfully. Who didn't know how to say harsh words? He clenched his right hand into a fist and threw a punch at the demonic dragon that was charging at him. Bam! The punch from Ji Fei's divine soul directly sent the devil dragon flying. I'm an infinite god soul. What makes you think you can fight me? Who gave you the courage? Ji Fei was extremely cold and arrogant. Demon eyes. Mohan roared, and a terrifying demonic aura immediately erupted from his body, instantly enveloping Ji Fei's divine soul. He wanted to demonize Ji Fei's soul. You want to demonize me? Ji Fei's divine soul sneered. He did not resist and allowed the devil soul's power to corrode his divine soul. Mohan was shocked and angry. This human was not afraid of being demonized. You're not afraid of becoming a demon? Mohan said sternly. Ha ha. God or demon, I have the final say. Ji Fei's divine soul roared into the sky. The power of the 9 Tao's intertwined with the power of the demonic path. His soul power was multiplying. You're crazy. Mohan was really shocked. Primordial spirit Tao sword, / Ji Fei's spiritual soul let out a furious roar as a powerful spiritual soul power erupted. In the next moment, a demon god's sword appeared in the soul realm. What? Before Mohan could finish his thought, his consciousness was plunged into darkness. The devil shadow dissipated, and the remnant soul of the great devil from the upper world dissipated into the void, turning into the purest soul power. The demonic god sword instantly slashed the devil's soul before disappearing into the void. Ji Fei's divine soul reappeared, greedily devouring the pure soul power of the devil soul. Ji Fei's divine soul sat cross-legged in the soul realm, refining the devil soul's power. In the outside world, Ji Fei's fleshly body stood motionlessly in front of the devil source. His martial body was also devouring the devil chi in the surroundings. Just when Ji Fei's divine soul transformed into a Tao sword and slashed at the devil soul, Yuxian who had barged into the extreme devil cave and was surrounded by a group of devil corpses, suddenly saw those devil corpses falling to the ground, motionless. Yuxian was shocked to the extreme. Could it be that Ji Fei killed that devil will? At this moment, she could no longer sense the existence of the devil will. How did he do it? Yuxian couldn't believe it. One must know that the devil source in the extreme devil cave fell from the upper world to the void world. What kind of place was the upper world? It was a supreme world. She directly rushed into the depths of the extreme devil cave, only to see a figure standing quietly in the void. In front of him, there was actually a fist-sized devil source floating in the air. The powerful devil source was vast and mighty, causing the surrounding void to ripple. Transparent spatial ripples spread out in all directions. What's going on? Yuxian couldn't help but be shocked when she saw this scene. The aura of her cheap master was incomparably strong, but his eyes were lifeless. It was very strange. He lost his soul? Yuxian couldn't help but be shocked when she thought of this. With Ji Fei's cultivation, if something happened to his divine soul, she wouldn't be able to help him. Devil source, Yuxian stared at the ball of demonic light floating in front of Ji Fei. Although the ball of demonic light was only the size of a fist, the fluctuation of demonic energy that it exuded was extremely powerful. Even she herself felt her heart trembling. The devilish nature of the devil will was too terrifying. Yuxian only stared at it for a moment, but she already felt her mouth going dry. The devil will energy emitted from the devil will also had an effect on Yuxian, as if it could trigger the devil in her heart. Forget it, I'll wait for you outside for 10 days. If you don't come out, I'll completely seal the extreme devil cave. Yuxian said and turned to leave. She couldn't deal with the devil source because she didn't have the ability to refine it. But if she could seal it, she could still do it. This could be considered as getting rid of the hidden danger of the extreme devil cave. After Yuxian came out of the extreme devil cave, she executed a sacred art to seal the entrance of the extreme devil cave. Without the devil will, the extreme devil cave completely calmed down. The moment Yuxian sealed the extreme devil cave, the devil chi within the extreme devil cave could no longer seep out. The devil chi that had shrouded the sky above the extreme devil cave for countless years finally dissipated. The area where the extreme devil cave was located could finally see sunlight again. Is it a success? Seeing this scene, the Buddhist supremes of the Buddha race were incomparably shocked. Xiao Ya, Long Xiaoju, and the rest were incomparably excited. It's already over. Looks like I'm late. Chapter 5273. Sure enough, there was a super antique hidden in Extreme Demon Cave. Alas, he was only left with a remnant soul. However, even though he was only left with a wisp of his remnant soul, he was still extremely powerful. He actually managed to pull Ji Yufei's soul into his spiritual world. That was the world of souls, mysterious and unfathomable. The demonic soul wanted to devour Ji Yufei's soul. Who would have thought that Ji Yufei's cultivation of the 9 secrets of the immortal Tao would allow him to slay the demonic soul with a single move of his primordial spirit Tao sword? Ji Yufei's soul sat cross-legged in the soul world, where the power of the 9 Taos and the demonic Tao clashed and fused. Meanwhile, Ji Yufei's soul was being tempered by the power of the 9 Taos and the demonic Tao, growing stronger and stronger. Time passed, and 10 days passed in the blink of an eye. Ji Yufei still hadn't emerged from Extreme Demon Cave, so Yuxian went to the Buddhist race. My master risked his life to take the demonic will of Extreme Demon Cave down with him. It's about time you honor your promise. Yuxian spoke to the 3 Buddhist supremacies, heaven, earth, and man, in the myriad Buddha hall. What? The Buddhist supremacies all wore different expressions, but they all had one thing in common. They couldn't bear to part with myriad Buddha mountain, and didn't want it to fall into the hands of an outsider. Chimph, are you trying to play dumb? Yuxian sneered. We wouldn't dare. As long as Daoist Jiu comes, we naturally won't renege on our promise. Heaven Buddhist Supreme pressed his palms together. Do you have any shame? Yuxian slapped the armrest of her chair and shot to her feet, glaring at the 3 Buddhist supremacies. Well, Senior Yu, we need to be reasonable. The Buddhist race only made a promise to Daoist Jiu. You're not Daoist Jiu. Earth Buddhist Supreme said coolly. Now that Ji Yufei seemed to have died in Extreme Demon Cave, there was no need to honor their promise to Ji Yufei. All the Buddhist supremacies in the hall were secretly delighted. That's right. If Daoist Jiu comes personally, he can take myriad Buddha mountain away. Human Buddha Supreme added. You guys have gone too far. Yuxian flew into a rage when she heard this. However, these baldies turned a blind eye to her. All right, just you wait. Yuxian flicked her sleeves and turned to leave. After Yuxian left the 10,000 Buddha hall, the long-browed Buddha Supreme said to the Heaven Buddha Supreme, Senior brother, I'm afraid we will offend the Sky Race if we do this. So what if we offend the Tien clan? Heavenly Dragon Buddha said disapprovingly. What can the Tien clan do to us? Earth Tiger Buddha, who had always been at odds with Heavenly Dragon Buddha, was on his side this time. Our Buddha race is a reasonable race. If Yuxian comes again, we'll just have to reason with her. The Fury Buddha said. To put it bluntly, they did not want to lose the myriad Buddha mountain. After all, the myriad Buddha mountain was extremely important to the Buddha race. It was related to the legacy of the Buddha race. However, they didn't want to push things too far. Who knew if Ji Yufei had really fallen in the Extreme Demon Cave? If Ji Yufei was lucky and didn't die, the Buddha race would have to bear the consequences. This bunch of baldies. Yuziana was truly angered. She did not expect these baldies to be so shameless. Very well, since this is the case, this old lady will give you a big gift. She headed straight for the extreme demon cave. The Buddha race's great formation could not stop her. What is she doing? Sensing Yuziana heading towards the extreme demon cave, the Buddha Supremes in the 10,000 Buddha Hall could not remain calm. Could it be? The Buddha Supremes were all shocked. Soon, a loud sound came from the direction of the extreme demon cave. Then, a monstrous wave of demonic chi rushed out from the extreme demon cave. The group of Buddha Supremes panicked again. How could there be such powerful demonic chi in the extreme demon cave? Actually, Yuziana wanted to trick the Buddha race, but she did not expect them to go back on their words. If this was the case, why would she help these baldies seal the extreme demon cave? What a joke. However, without the demonic will causing trouble in the extreme demon cave, it was already half useless. Unless the demonic source gained sentience again. However, it was not an easy task for the demonic source to gain sentience. Perhaps the demonic source could not even gain sentience. If that was the case, the extreme demon cave would no longer be a threat to the Buddha race, and the Buddha race would no longer need to guard this cave. At this time, Jiyu Fei was still standing quietly in the depths of the extreme demon cave. His martial physique was automatically devouring the surrounding demonic chi. Even though his divine soul had not returned, he could instinctively refine the demonic chi. The demonic source was also floating in the air, emitting a powerful demonic aura. If it was an ordinary person, they would have long been turned into a terrifying demonic creature by this demonic source. However, Jiyu Fei's martial physique was the genuine limitless martial physique. This demonic source could not do anything to Jiyu Fei's limitless martial physique. Just as Yuziana detonated the demonic source, the entire extreme demon cave shook violently. A powerful spiritual will burst out from the depths of the extreme demon cave. Master. When Yuziana sensed this spiritual will fluctuation, she couldn't help but be stunned. She thought that Jiyu Fei's divine soul had perished together with the demonic will of the extreme demon cave. Even Xiao Ya and the rest, who were blocked outside the extreme demon cave by the Buddha array, could sense this spiritual will fluctuation. Today, this daddy will destroy the extreme demon cave. This voice suddenly rang out in the minds of countless living beings. It's Jiyu Fei. When the bald heads from the Buddha race sensed this spiritual will fluctuation, they were all stunned. Their myriad Buddha mountain was about to fall. Aya, oh my God. When Yuziana sensed a supreme energy erupting from the depths of the extreme demon cave, she immediately fled. Boom. Just as Yuziana fled, a loud explosion resounded. The entire extreme demon cave exploded, and this energy directly scattered the Buddha race's grand array. Boundless Buddha light dissipated in the void. Heavenly Buddha Supreme and the rest of the Buddha Supremes wanted to stabilize the Buddha array, but they were directly sent flying as they coughed out blood. This was a huge loss for them. When Xiao Ya and the rest outside the Buddha array saw that the situation was bad, they immediately fled. Rumble. With the extreme demon cave as the center, terrifying destructive energy swept out in all directions. Everywhere it passed, countless mountains crumbled, and the entire extreme demon mountain was almost completely destroyed. This scene was world-destroying, truly shocking to the extreme. Countless demonic creatures in the extreme demon mountain couldn't escape in time, and many of them died. Limitless, haha. A figure shot out from the extreme demon mountain, straight into the sky. A terrifying aura erupted from his body, causing the entire world to tremble. At this moment, Jiyu Fei felt that he was extremely powerful, as though he could shatter the void with a wave of his hand. However, he knew very well that he had yet to refine the demonic origin. Even if he completely refined it, he might not be able to return to infinite prime. Chapter 52-74. After refining the devil's soul, Jiyu Fei's primordial spirit became extremely powerful. With just a thought, he could sense everything in the entire Buddha land. Any movement in the Buddha land would appear in his mind. However, his cultivation was only in the eternal realm. His overly powerful divine soul wasn't a good thing for him. Ji Fei broke out of the extreme devil cave and broke free. This caused a sensation in the entire Buddha land, then the entire culmination sky. He was like a peerless ruler as he descended upon the myriad Buddha mountain on a 9-colored cloud. I heard that some people refused to fulfill their promise. Is that true? On the peak of the myriad Buddha mountain, Ji Fei stood on a 9-colored cloud as he looked down at the group of Buddha supremacies in front of the myriad Buddha palace. A powerful pressure descended from the sky, causing the Buddha supremacies to be unable to straighten their backs. Daoist Ji, is that what you said? There's absolutely no such thing. Long-browed Buddhist Supreme hurriedly jumped out and said, Master, this disciple came here to ask them to fulfill their promise. These fellas tried to evade it, but they refused. This is absolutely true. Yu Xian appeared out of nowhere and said loudly. At this moment, Ji Fei waved his sleeves and a few more people appeared on the 9-colored cloud. They were the other 2 disciples of Ji Fei, Xiao Ya and Long Xiaoju, and the heaven shaman priest, Wu Lingxue. Long Xiaozhou's subordinates had already been sent back to the West Sea by her. The sect leader of the battle sect had already retreated when he saw that the situation wasn't good. This was because they couldn't interfere in a battle of this level. If they went, they would die. In order to preserve their strength, Wang Dozhan naturally chose to retreat. Greetings, Master. Xiao Ya and Long Xiaoju hurriedly bowed towards Ji Fei. They only felt the surrounding void distort. In the next moment, they appeared beside Ji Fei. The heaven shaman priest was also stunned. She hurriedly bowed towards Ji Fei. However, Ji Fei didn't pay much attention to the heaven shaman priest. This made the heaven shaman priest feel inexplicably sad. Even she didn't know why she was like this. Greetings, senior sisters. Yu Xian smiled and nodded to Xiao Ya and Long Xiaoju. Both Xiao Ya and Long Xiaoju were overwhelmed by the favor. They already knew that their master had accepted another disciple, and this disciple's background was too great, so great that it was enough to scare them silly when they received the news. She is your junior sister. You must have the bearing of a senior sister, understand? Ji Fei looked at the incomparably nervous Xiao Ya and Long Xiaoju and said, Yes, yes. Master, Xiao Ya and Long Xiaoju hurriedly said. Master, let's deal with the matter in front of us first. Yu Xian said. All right. Ji Fei then turned to the Buddhist supremacies below and said, My disciple came here to ask you guys to fulfill your promise. Why didn't you guys agree? Do you think we're easy to bully? How is this possible? Dao Master said anxiously. The thing they were most afraid of had finally happened. This Ji Fei was simply an unkillable cockroach. What should they do now? The Buddhist supremacies were sweating profusely. One must know that Ji Fei had just destroyed the extreme devil cave. Since ancient times, who could threaten the extreme devil cave? If this Ji Fei could destroy the extreme devil cave, wouldn't he be able to destroy the entire Central Plains Buddhist race if he made a move on the Buddha race? The Buddhist supremacies were very clear that if this matter wasn't handled well, the Buddha race would face a calamity. At that time, the Void Realm Buddhist race would become a thing of the past. Do you think my disciple would lie to me? Ji Fei's voice turned cold. Disciple naturally wouldn't dare to lie to master. Yu Xian hurriedly said. The Buddhist supremacies were speechless. Previously, they wanted to steal a chicken. But now, even if they used their toes to think, they knew that this time, it wouldn't be as simple as losing rice. Your Buddha race actually dared to bully me and my disciple? How despicable. Ji Fei was furious. In order to destroy the extreme devil cave, he had put his life on the line. If he hadn't cultivated the 9 secrets of the immortal Tao and used his primordial spirit Tao sword technique to slay the demon soul, he would probably be finished. After risking his life to destroy the extreme devil cave, the Buddha race actually wanted to renege on their debt. This made Ji Fei extremely angry. Tao friend Ji, please calm down. It's not that we don't want to keep our promise. We said that as long as Tao friend Ji comes personally, we will definitely fulfill our promise. The Heavenly Buddha Supreme was also a little flustered. That's right, that's right. We made a promise with Tao friend Jiyu. No matter when Tao friend Jiyu comes, we will definitely fulfill our promise. The long-browed Buddhist Supreme hurriedly said. If I die in the extreme devil cave and perish together with the demons, are you going to renege on your promise? How could Jiyu Fei not know the shameless thoughts of these big baldies? To put it bluntly, as long as Jiyu Fei were to die, the agreement that the Buddha race had with Jiyu Fei would be voided. If that were the case, not only would Jiyu Fei have done all this for nothing, he would even have to pay with his life. Not only that, he wouldn't even get anything out of it. The Buddha race didn't even have to do anything and just picked up a huge bargain. However, how could it be so easy to pick up such a bargain in this world? But now, Jiyu Fei was back, and he was here to reprimand them. How could this be? At a time like this, how could the Buddhist Supremes dare to say anything else? Even though that was what they were thinking, they didn't dare to say it out loud. Why not? If you guys don't give me a reasonable explanation, you guys will have to bear the consequences. Jiyu Fei laughed coldly. Tao friend Jiyu, what do you say then? The heavenly Buddha Supreme calmed down and looked up at Jiyu Fei calmly. Are you saying that I can do whatever I want? Jiyu Fei's tone turned cold. Tao friend Jiyu, just say it. What do you want? The heavenly Buddha Supreme continued. Haha. Very good. Seems like there are still some sensible people in the Buddha race after all. Jiyu Fei roared out in laughter. The group of Buddhist Supremes were extremely displeased. How could they not know that Jiyu Fei was trying to rip them off? But even if they knew, they didn't dare to say it out loud. After all, they had made a mistake earlier on. Since Jiyu Fei wanted to rip them off, they could only grit their teeth and swallow it down. Just give me this Tao Hall of yours. Jiyu Fei said calmly. What? The moment the group of demon supremes heard this, they were shocked. To think that this fella would want the territory of the Buddha race. His appetite was way too big, wasn't it? Even Yu Xian Xiao Ya, and Long Xiaoju, who were standing behind Jiyu Fei, were stunned. Master was amazing. The moment he opened his mouth, he wanted the territory that the Buddha race had been managing for countless of years. But, would the Buddha race agree to it? Would they? Chapter 5275. In the sky above Myriad Buddha Mountain, Jiyu Fei stood on a 9-colored cloud and looked down at the crowd of Buddhist supremacies. The fact that he wanted the Buddhist clan's territory as soon as he opened his mouth shocked everyone present. This reminded the Heaven Shaman priest of how Jiyu Fei asked the witch race to get the hell out of Southman's capital. The man in front of him was too domineering. However, the situation now was different from that day. Because the witch race had just taken over Southman's capital, they hadn't even gained a firm foothold. Therefore, with a single word from Jiyu Fei, the witch race could only get the hell out of Southman's capital. Because they didn't dare to go against Jiyu Fei. But now, Jiyu Fei wanted the Buddha race to get the hell out of Southman's capital. How was that possible? Tao friend Jiyu, stop joking. The Heaven Buddha Supreme wiped the cold sweat off his bald head. I don't have time to joke with you. Whether the Buddha race wants to be exterminated or get the hell out, it's your choice. Jiyu Fei's tone was filled with killing intent. He wasn't joking. This, the Heaven Buddha Supreme and the rest knew that it wouldn't do the Buddha race any good if things got out of hand. All of the Buddhist supremacies regretted it. However, there was no medicine for regret in this world. Tao friend, please calm down. Just as the Buddhist supremacies didn't know what to do, an old voice resounded. Then, a figure appeared in front of the 1000 Buddha Hall. When the Buddhist supremacies saw the person, they were surprised and delighted. Greetings, old ancestor. Under the lead of the Heaven Buddha Supreme, the Buddhist supremacies placed their palms together and bowed respectfully. Master, he is the Buddha race's ancestor, formless Buddhist Lord. Yu Xian said to Jiyu Fei. Buddha race's ancestor? Jiyu Fei's eyes lit up when he heard this. It doesn't matter who comes. I have my eyes on your Buddha race's territory. Jiyu Fei stared coldly at the old man below and said. This old man was different from the other Buddhist supremacies because he wasn't bald. This old man had a head of white hair and looked old. However, There was an extremely powerful force hidden within his body. Once the power within the old man's body erupted, it would definitely be earth-shattering. Big sister Yu, how have you been? The old man said to Yu Xian. You called me big sister? Yu Xian was instantly displeased. Haha, don't tell me I should call you little sister. The old man smiled. Yu Xian was furious. You are the progenitor of the Buddha race? Very well, then take your disciples and scram. Even against the founding ancestor of the Buddha race, Jiyu Fei was still extremely domineering. Dao friend, the Buddha race has been managing this place for countless of years. Do you really think that a single sentence of yours is possible for my Buddha race to vacate this place? The Buddha race's primogenitor, the formless Buddhist Lord, said indifferently. Temph, in your opinion, how should we resolve this matter? Jiyu Fei said coldly. Formless Buddhist Lord pondered for a moment and said, how about this? It's impossible for my Buddhist clan to vacate this place. I'm willing to give you that thing as an apology. Formless Buddhist Lord looked at Jiyu Fei. TSK, it's not that I'm looking down on your Buddha race. Your Buddha race only has the 1000 Buddha mountain, which is decent. Everything else is trash in my eyes. Jiyu Fei said proudly. Is that so? It's not like my Buddha race doesn't have anything good. Formless Buddhist Lord laughed. Alright, if you can take out something that I'm satisfied with, then I'll forget about this matter. If you can't, then don't blame me for being impolite. Jiyu Fei nodded his head. He was curious as to what this Buddha race could take out. Old ancestor, could it be that you, Heavenly Buddha Supremacy and the other Buddhist supremacies seemed to have guessed something and were shocked? The formless Buddhist Lord flipped his right hand, and a copper bell immediately appeared in his hand. He held it in his palm. Hey! Jiyu Fei scanned it with his spiritual will and instantly knew that this bronze bell wasn't ordinary. His spiritual will was at the unbounded state. Therefore, the bronze bell in formless Buddhist Lord's hand was no secret to him at all. This was a weapon of the Buddha race. Furthermore, it was an unbounded state weapon. This bronze bell should be known as the Jingang bell. To think that your Buddha race would truly have something good. However, you're willing to give this Jingang bell to me? Jiyu Fei looked down at the elderly man with a smile that didn't seem like a smile. I have no desires. Why wouldn't I be willing? Formless Buddhist Lord's face was indifferent. No desires. Your Buddha realm is much higher than those of your disciples and grand disciples. Jiyu Fei nodded his head. Be it the Heavenly Buddha Supremacy or anyone else, they wouldn't be able to reach a state where they had no desires. Otherwise, they wouldn't have offended Jiyu Fei just to protect the 1000 Buddha mountain. After hearing the words of Jiyu Fei, the Heavenly Buddha Supremacy and the other Buddhist supremacies were truly ashamed. Very well. Everything from before shall be written off. Jiyu Fei waved his hand. The bronze bell in the hands of formless Buddhist Lord flew up and landed in his hands. This. The Buddhist supremacies felt their hearts wrench. This was an utmost treasure of the Buddha race, and the old master was giving it away just like that. The Buddhist supremacies could not understand why the old master would give the utmost treasure of the Buddha race to Jiyu Fei. Even though the little bell looked unassuming, it was the most heaven-defying magic weapon of the Buddha race. That was because it was an unparalleled magic weapon. But, it was a pity that even the old ancestor of the Buddha race, the faceless Buddha Lord, could not make use of this little bell. Furthermore, there was no Buddha race within the void world in the first place. It was because the formless Buddhist Lord had obtained this Jingang bell and comprehended the true meaning of Buddhism within it that the lineage of the Buddha race was passed down. Therefore, this small Jingang bell held an unparalleled position in the hearts of the Buddhist supremacies. But to think that the old master would give this unparalleled weapon to Jiyu Fei. Ha. No desires. You guys should learn from me. Jiyu Fei roared out in laughter. Everyone was speechless right now. Dao friend, if that's the case, everything between you and my Buddha race shall be written off. The formless Buddhist Lord said. That's for sure. Since I'm in a good mood today, I'll give you guys 3 days to leave the myriad Buddha mountain. Jiyu Fei held the small bell in his hand and carefully observed it. Many thanks, fellow Daoist. The formless Buddhist Lord placed his palms together. You can leave, but you can't move your belongings. Ji Fei suddenly said. What? The heavenly Buddhist supremacies and the rest were enraged when they heard this. That works too. The formless Buddhist Lord nodded. Old Master, how can this be? The Buddhist supremacies could not agree to it. Don't have any desires, you bunch of big baldies. Yu Xian could not help but jump out and shout. The Buddhist supremacies glared at Yu Xian who was in the sky. All right, let's go. We don't have anything to begin with, so why should we mess up our state of mind for mere worldly possessions? The formless Buddhist Lord said as he turned to leave. Highs. When the Buddhist supremacies saw how no desires their old master was, what else could they do? They could only follow their old master. Even though they were unwilling, so what? Chapter 5276. The Buddhist race wanted to trick Ji Fei. They thought that Ji Fei had perished together with the devil origin in the extreme devil cave, so they didn't intend to keep their promise and hand over the myriad Buddha mountain. Their wishful thinking wasn't bad, but unfortunately, the plans of man are no match for the plans of God. Ji Fei didn't die in the extreme devil cave. Not only did he not die, but his cultivation base also improved by leaps and bounds. Therefore, the Buddhist race had shot themselves in the foot. Not only did the Buddhist race lose the myriad Buddha mountain, but they also lost a supreme Buddhist artifact, the Vajra bell. Only the Vajra bell could catch Ji Fei's eye, because it was an infinite-grade Buddhist artifact. Without a doubt, this Buddhist artifact was definitely an item from the upper realms. The Buddhist clan and even that person from the towering heaven palace could not refine a Tao artifact of this level. Even Ji Fei, who had an infinite stage soul, could not refine an unbounded Tao treasure. Only if he completely recovered to the infinite stage could he refine an unbounded Tao treasure. Ji Fei would never have imagined that the old ancestor of the Buddhist race would actually give this Vajra bell to him. However, even if the bell of Vajra fell into his hands, it would be difficult for him to unleash its true power. Actually, the Vajra bell was useless in the hands of the formless Buddhist Lord. Although the formless Buddhist Lord had used the Vajra bell to become a Buddha, he still couldn't activate this supreme Buddhist weapon. The formless Buddhist Lord had obtained this supreme Buddhist artifact for countless years. He had long studied the Buddhist Dharma on the Vajra bell. Therefore, to him, the Vajra bell wasn't of much use anymore. There was a reason why the formless Buddhist Lord had given the Vajra bell to Ji Fei so easily. After obtaining the Vajra bell, Ji Fei entered the 10,000 Buddha Hall and went into seclusion there. This time, he had obtained great benefits. Not only had he refined the devil's soul in the extreme demon cave, but he had also obtained the devil origin that had fallen from the upper realm into the void realm. That was an infinite level devil origin, an infinite level power. If he could refine it, Ji Fei's cultivation base would definitely increase greatly. It would be best if he could reach the infinite prime realm in one go. Just as Ji Fei was in seclusion, the Buddha race began to withdraw from the myriad Buddha mountain. Before leaving myriad Buddha mountain, the ancestor of the Buddhist clan made a trip to extreme devil cave. The moment this old ancestor of the Buddha race arrived at the extreme demon cave, he was shocked. This was because there wasn't even a trace of demonic energy here. In fact, he couldn't even sense a trace of demonic energy. This Ji Fei, all the Buddhist supremacies who were following behind the old master of the Buddha race were equally stumped by everything before them. To think that Ji Fei would have truly destroyed the entire extreme demon cave. Where the extreme devil cave used to be, there was now only a huge crater. The entire extreme devil mountain was destroyed. Rocks were everywhere, flowers and trees were also destroyed. All the mountain ridges had collapsed, and only some of the lower peaks were left standing. This was truly an apocalyptic sight. At the sight of this, all the Buddhist supremacies were sweating profusely. This Ji Fei was truly daring enough to do such a thing. The entire extreme devil mountain range had disappeared entirely, and countless saint spirits had perished. However, the huge threat that was extreme devil cave had been resolved completely. It's worth it. It's definitely worth it. From now on, our Buddha race is free. The face of the old master of the Buddha race was extremely grim. But, old master, the heavenly Buddha supremacy wanted to say something but stopped. Do you think that losing the Bell of Vajra and the myriad Buddha mountain isn't worth it? Let me tell you guys, as long as we can destroy Extreme Devil Cave, let alone the myriad Buddha mountain and the Bell of Vajra, even if we had to hand over the Buddha land, it would be worth it. The old master of the Buddha race yelled out. Yes, yes, yes. You're right, old master. How could any of the Buddhist supremacies dare to retort? Alright, you guys better not offend that fella called Gu Fei anymore. The only ones who will be in trouble are us, the Buddha race. The formless Buddhist lord said calmly. Old master, could it be that even you aren't a match for him? The heavenly dragon supremacy said in an indignant manner. If he can flatten Extreme Devil Cave, what do you think? The formless Buddhist lord said in an exasperated manner. These fellas had truly lived their lives like dogs. They were all Buddhist supremacies, so how could they still be so stupid? Let's go. There's nothing more to see here. The formless Buddhist lord said as he left. He had been in seclusion for a long time now, and he really wanted to roam the world. And, this primogenitor of the Buddha race really did just that. He went to roam the world right away. All the Buddhist supremacies were stunned. Things had already come to this, and yet the old master was still in the mood to roam the world. This was way too ridiculous. However, this was the old master they were talking about. No one dared to express any dissatisfaction. The efficiency of the Buddha race was pretty decent. In less than 3 days, all the disciples of the Buddha race had retreated from the myriad Buddha mountain. This was because the myriad Buddha mountain no longer belonged to the Buddha race. Following the departure of the disciples of the Buddha race, the entire myriad Buddha mountain turned cold and cheerless. There was only Xiao Ya, Long Xiaoju, and the heaven shaman priest hanging around the mountain. They had nothing better to do. As for Yuziana, she directly returned to the Sky Clan. She couldn't stay for long as there were many things to do in the Sky Clan. There were simply too many things that needed to be prepared. This was because the next time Gu Fei came to the Sky Clan, it would be the time when the Sky Clan would leave the Void Realm. Gu Fei was in seclusion and no one knew when he would come out. However, the news of Gu Fei destroying the Extreme Devil Cave in the Culmination Buddha Land had already spread throughout the entire Void Realm. The number one ominous land in the Void Realm was actually flattened by Gu Fei. Gu Fei destroyed the Extreme Devil Cave? How is this possible? The first thought that popped up in the minds of everyone who heard the news was impossible. This was simply too unbelievable. That was the Extreme Devil Cave. The Buddha race had been suppressing the Extreme Devil Cave for countless years and yet, the Buddha race had never been able to destroy it. Now, the moment Gu Fei went there, he destroyed the Extreme Devil Cave? Wasn't this a joke? Who would believe it? When the news reached South Man, Gu Fei's subordinates were extremely excited. The more powerful their master was, the less people would dare to have any ideas about them. And Gu Fei's rule in South Man became more stable. No one dared to challenge his ruling position. Even the witch race was terrified. The Witch King, Wu Jiao, directly opened the city gates of Black Wolf City and surrendered. Since then, the battle between Fierce Tiger King and Wu Jiao ended with Wu Jiao's defeat. Among the 19 vassal kings of South Man, those who were still observing immediately ran to the Southern Man Palace to express their loyalty when the news of Gu Fei destroying the Extreme Devil Cave reached South Man. The 19 vassal kings were all terrified and surrendered. Moreover, the 19 vassal kings of South Man did not need Gu Fei's orders. They immediately began to clean up the remnants of the barbarian emperor. In an instant, the entire South Man became a reign of terror as countless remnants of the barbarian emperor were dragged out. Now, no one dared to take in the remnants of the barbarian emperor. In an instant, the entire South Man was filled with heads. This was definitely a great purge. Shan Kuei, save me. In the east of the city, the door of Shan Kuei's residence was suddenly knocked open. A figure rushed in from the outside. It was an extremely beautiful woman. Behind her, more than a dozen men in black were chasing after her. Stop. Chapter 5277. While Gu Fei was in seclusion, the news of him destroying the extreme devil cave spread throughout the void realm. The world was shocked, and countless people found it hard to believe. However, it didn't matter who didn't believe it, because it was a fact. Some superpowers who were on good terms with the Buddhist clan also confirmed the authenticity of the news. Moreover, the Buddhist clan paid a huge price to ask Jiyu Fei to help. The Buddha clan's myriad Buddha mountain was given to Jiyu Fei. When the news spread, it shocked the entire void realm. However, Jiyu Fei didn't expect that after the news of him destroying the extreme devil cave spread to southern Man, there would be a great purge in southern Man. Countless remnants of barbarian sovereign lurking in southern Man were found by the 19 vassal kings, and they were killed without mercy. One must know that the reason why the remnants of the barbarian emperor could hide in southern Man was because of the protection of these vassal kings. Without the protection of these vassal kings, how could there be so many remnants of the barbarian emperor who could hide so well? However, as King Dong fled, the witch clan admitted defeat, and barbarian sovereign's son Man Yu died, everyone knew that the remnants of barbarian sovereign would never have a chance to make a comeback. Moreover, Jiyu Fei destroyed the entire extreme devil cave at this time. In this way, who would the 19 vassal kings support? Of course, they would support Jiyu Fei. Therefore, these vassal kings began a great purge. They wanted to get rid of all the remnants of barbarian sovereign in southern Man as a show of loyalty to Jiyu Fei. At this time, even the southern Man sovereign was in chaos. Bang! The door of Shan Kuei's mansion in the east of the city was suddenly smashed open, and someone escaped in. Shan Kuei, save me. It was an extremely beautiful woman. No one can save you. More than a dozen men in black chased in from outside. How dare you? Who dares to break into my mansion? An angry roar came from the mansion. The next moment, heavy footsteps were heard, and a tall, rough-looking man walked out of the mansion. This man was Shan Kuei. General Shan, we are catching the remnants of barbarian sovereign. I hope you won't interfere. A man in black stepped out and cupped his hands towards Shan Kuei. Husband, how could I possibly be a remnant of the barbarian emperor? The woman hid behind Shan Kuei. You all heard it. She is my wife, and my wife is a remnant of the barbarian emperor. Shan Kuei glared at the black-robed leader and roared. What? The leader of the black-clothed men was taken aback. If you don't have any evidence and dare to barge into my mansion, then leave your lives behind. As Shan Kuei spoke, he extended his right hand and a large halberd immediately flew into his hand. Shan Kuei, my maidservant was killed by these fellows. Do you think it's possible for you not to kill these fellows? Kill them for me. The woman who had calmed down pointed at the black-clothed leader and shouted. Madam, there are outsiders here. Can you give me some face? Shan Kuei was extremely depressed. What face do you want? Hurry up and kill them. The woman roared. All the black-clothed men were stunned. This Shan Kuei was actually a henpecked husband. You all heard it. My madam wants me to kill you. Shan Kuei stared at the black-clothed leader and a murderous aura erupted from his body. General Shan Kuei, I saw with my own eyes that your madam was in contact with the remnant of the barbarian emperor. That's why we chased them all the way here. Do you really want to protect the remnant of the barbarian emperor? The black-clothed leader stared coldly at Shan Kuei and said. What? There's such a thing. Shan Kuei stretched out his hand and directly grabbed the madam who was hiding behind him and brought her in front of him. Is what he said true? Shan Kuei roared at the madam. Shan Kuei, what are you doing? Are you rebelling? The madam said angrily. She was actually not afraid at all. If what he said is true, I will kill you. If what he said is false, I will kill them. Shan Kuei changed his usual henpecked look and became fierce. The madam was trembling in fear. You, take out the evidence. If you can't, I will still kill you. Shan Kuei pointed the halberd in his hand at the black-clothed leader. The black-clothed leader was shocked when he heard this. At this moment, the madam who was being held by Shan Kuei was also extremely afraid. Husband, I am from the Heavenly Eagle City. How can I be a remnant of the barbarian emperor? The madam said anxiously. The Heavenly Eagle City was one of the 3 great cities that guarded the barbarian emperor's ancestral ground. This madam was not an ordinary person. She was a member of the red-browed eagle emperor. This was a trick that the red-browed eagle emperor used to rope in Jiu Fei's subordinates. That's true. Since you can't take out the evidence, then you can just die. Shan Kuei directly threw the madam to the side and roared. He stomped his right foot on the ground and immediately soared into the sky, charging towards the black-clothed leader in the courtyard. General Shan, we are the people of the Saber Emperor. The black-clothed leader hurriedly parried. Clang. Sparks could be seen flying in all directions. The black-clothed leader was directly sent flying by Shan Kuei's halberd. His body slammed heavily against the wall, and cracks immediately appeared on the wall. So what if you are the people of the Saber Emperor? I will still kill you. Shan Kuei roared and charged again. At this time, the black-clothed leader was complaining incessantly in his heart. He only saw that this madam was extremely beautiful and wanted to cause trouble. Who would have thought that this madam was actually Shan Kuei's wife? He knew that he had kicked an iron plate today. Shan Kuei was Jiu Fei's subordinate. Although his cultivation was not high, his background was not simple. Very quickly, the black-clothed leader's subordinates were all killed by Shan Kuei. You win, the black-clothed leader immediately fled. If you run any slower, this daddy will kill you as well. Shan Kuei roared. His cultivation was no longer the same as before. In this life, the most correct thing he did was to follow Jiu Fei. Otherwise, how could he have today's achievements and status? Husband, you are too powerful. When the madam saw Shan Kuei chase away the black-clothed leader, she couldn't help but be overjoyed. Shut up. From today onwards, you better stay in the residence obediently. If I find out that you sneaked out of the residence, I will kill you. Shan Kuei roared at the madam. Husband, the madam was quite frightened. At this time, Xiao Wei had just returned to the palace. Shan Kuei, quickly come and see me. Xiao Wei's voice sounded in Shan Kuei's mind. Yes, Lord Xiao Wei. Shan Kuei no longer paid attention to his madam. He directly left the residence and rode towards the direction of the southern man's royal capital. The news of Xiao Wei's return quickly spread throughout the entire southern man's royal capital. And Xiao Wei's return immediately calmed down the chaotic southern man's royal capital. Because many people were like the black-clothed leader, fishing in troubled waters. Now that Xiao Wei had returned, who would dare to fish in troubled waters? Chapter 5278. The situation in the south was turbulent because the 19 feudal lords of the south launched a great purge against the remnants of the barbarian emperor. The barbarian sovereign had been in charge of the southern barbarian for 3,000 years. His forces were spread all over the southern barbarian. Although he was killed by Jiu Fei, there were many people in the southern barbarian who were related to the barbarian sovereign. Now, in order to express their loyalty to Jiu Fei, the 19 feudal lords had launched a great purge. In this way, everyone in the southern wilderness felt insecure. Moreover, there were people with ulterior motives who took advantage of this opportunity to fish in troubled waters. This time, those fellows took advantage of the situation and came to Shan Kuei's place. This caused Shan Kuei to be both shocked and angry. He knew very well whether his wife was a remnant of the barbarian emperor or not. The red-browed eagle king of the heavenly eagle city was an old man who had followed Jiu Fei all the way to the southern barbarian royal capital from the barbarian royal city. He was an upright person. Anyone could be a remnant of the barbarian royal city, but it was absolutely impossible for the red-browed eagle king. Shan Kuei's wife was a descendant of heavenly eagle city's red-browed hawk emperor. However, the people who wanted to capture Shan Kuei's wife were the Saber King Luo Lai's people. This made Shan Kuei very unhappy. He must report the Saber King Luo Lai to Xiao Wei. The fact that the Saber King allowed his subordinates to run amok in the southern man royal capital was not a small matter. One must know that this was the southern man's royal capital, not some other place. It didn't matter how chaotic other places were, but the southern man's royal capital couldn't be chaotic. In the main hall of the imperial palace, Xiao Wei stood beside the dragon throne. At this time, there were already many people standing in the main hall. One-armed sword king, red-browed eagle king, moon god King Han Chong, the leaders of the Heavenly Ape tribe, the Fire Bear tribe, and the Thousand Beast King Huang who had all arrived. When they saw that Xiao Ya didn't sit down, they didn't dare to sit down either. This time, Xiao Ya didn't summon the vassal kings because they were Ji Yufei's true supporters. Apart from the Fierce Tiger King and the North Garrison King, the others were just fence-sitters. Fierce Tiger King and North Vanquishing King were still in Black Wolf City. Therefore, Xiao Ya was summoning the core members of Ji Yufei for a meeting. Lord Xiao Ya, you're finally back. You must uphold justice for me. As soon as Shan Kuei arrived, he immediately complained to Xiao Ya. Let's talk this out. An old voice rang out. The old shaman of Black Mountain walked in from outside. Saber King, that bastard. He allowed his subordinates to run amok in the city. How hateful. Shan Kuei said indignantly. What? Xiao Ya flew into a rage when she heard this. Shan Kuei, what nonsense are you talking about? At this moment, a loud shout came from outside. Then, a person strode in from outside. When everyone saw this person, who else could it be but the Saber King, Luo Lai? What nonsense am I talking about? Your subordinates have come to my residence today, and you actually dare to frame my wife for colluding with the remnants of the barbarian emperor? You're really going too far. When Shan Kuei saw the Saber King, his eyes immediately turned red. What? Everyone in the hall was dumbfounded when they heard this. What was going on? The Saber King's men actually killed their way to Shan Kuei's residence. No wonder Shan Kuei was so angry. Although Shan Kuei's cultivation level was not high, he was the leader of the Black Mountain tribe. In the entire Void Realm, the Black Mountain tribe was the first elder to follow Ji Yufei. To these elders, Ji Yufei treated them very well. My subordinates killed their way to your residence. The Saber King was also stunned when he heard this. Was it really his subordinate? Was he so blind? He actually killed his way to Shan Kuei's residence. If anything happened to Shan Kuei, he would be done for. In the southern barbarian capital, people like Shan Kuei and the Black Mountain High Priest had a very high status. No one dared to look down on them. What do you think? The corpse is still in my residence. Shan Kuei gritted his teeth and said. The Saber King's face immediately turned gloomy. If Shan Kuei did not have solid evidence, he would definitely not dare to complain to Xiao Ya. All right, Mr. Qiu, I'll have to trouble you to investigate this matter. Xiao Ya said to Qiu Qianjian. Yes, Your Highness. Qiu Qianjian quickly said. This time, I called you all here to tell you that I don't know how long Master will be in seclusion in the Myriad Buddha Mountain. You all better watch over the southern barbarian capital for me. Xiao Ya swept a glance at everyone present. This subordinate dares not delay. Everyone hurriedly said. Also, tell those vassal kings not to carry out any big purge. This is simply too much to do. Let those remnants of the barbarian emperor be. What can they do? Xiao Ya said with a solemn expression. Yes, Your Highness. Everyone received the order. But, Your Highness, those vassal kings may not be willing to listen to us. The Black Mountain High Priest said. Those who don't listen will be killed without mercy. Little Ya took out a token and threw it to the old High Priest of the Black Mountain tribe. That's it. I still have to rush back to the Myriad Buddha Mountain. When Master comes out, we will conquer the world and unify the Void Realm. Xiao Ya said excitedly. She was in a hurry to return to the Myriad Buddha Mountain mainly because the Myriad Buddha Mountain was full of spiritual energy. Cultivating on the mountain could yield twice the results with half the effort. Long Xiaoju did not even want to go down the mountain. Unify the Void Realm? Everyone in the hall was also extremely excited when they heard this. Unify the Void Realm. At that time, those who followed Ji Yufei would definitely soar. At that time, no one would dare to look down on them. With Ji Yufei's token in hand, everyone was confident. In fact, the 19 vassal kings of Nanman did not really care about Xiao Ya and the others. The only person they were afraid of was Ji Yufei. Xiao Ya only came back for a day and left again. On this day, Xiao Ya met many people. Fierce Tiger King and North Garrison King also rushed back. They directly escorted Wu Zhao, the Witch King, back to the Nanman royal capital. Since you dare to cause trouble, you should be prepared to die. Little Ya had beheaded Wu Jiao with a single slash. This shocked everyone. Even Wu Jiao himself did not expect that Xiao Ya would dare to kill him. Therefore, he died with his eyes wide open, unable to rest in peace. Wu Jiao, the Witch King, was beheaded by Xiao Ya. His head was hung on the east city gate of the Nanman royal capital. Countless people were terrified when they saw Wu Jiao's head hanging high on the city wall. That was a high and mighty Witch King, but he died just like that. He was beheaded. Xiao Ya actually dared to kill the Witch King. What did this mean? Could it be that Jiyu Fei wanted to destroy the sorcerer tribe? With the beheading of Wu Jiao, the entire sorcerer tribe was in a panic. However, no one expected that after Xiao Ya beheaded Wu Jiao, she directly left the Nanman royal capital and went to Tianfu Mountain in the Zhongqian Buddhist land. Xiao Ya represented Jiyu Fei. She did not do anything to the sorcerer tribe. The major forces of Nanman could not guess what Jiyu Fei wanted to do. Beheading Wu Jiao was definitely not done by Xiao Ya. It must be Jiyu Fei's intention. Chapter 52-79. Although Xiao Ya had only been back for a day, what she did shocked the entire South China. Beheading the Witch King. With just this move, Xiao Ya suppressed the entire South China, causing the witch tribe to be terrified. They were afraid that Jiyu Fei would attack the witch tribe. And the Great Purge of Nanman suddenly stopped. This was because Jiyu Fei had ordered that the remnants of the barbarian emperor be left to fend for themselves. The remnants of the barbarian emperor were naturally grateful to Jiyu Fei. Of course, there were also a small number of people who still wanted to tear Jiyu Fei into pieces. The situation in South China was finally no longer turbulent, but undercurrents were still emerging. The East King was still being hunted by Huangfu Zun, and the territory left behind by the East King had become the target of competition. The red-browed Eagle King was already in the East King mansion. However, the East King's territory was a big piece of fat meat. Most of this fat meat had been eaten by Jiyu Fei, but Jiyu Fei still had a lot left. The other Marquis Kings were also very jealous. In order to fight for territory, the Marquis Kings had already fought a few battles, and there were victories and defeats on both sides. The red-browed Eagle King did not appear, and let these guys fight until both sides suffered. The East King's territory originally belonged to Jiyu Fei. At this time, no one dared to fight for it. The red-browed Eagle King occupied the most prosperous area, and the remaining areas were poor and remote. He was too lazy to take them. As a result, the other lords began to take action. The South China Eastern region was still peaceful on the whole, but in the witch tribe's territory, everyone was in danger. No one knew if Jiyu Fei would suddenly attack them. However, the Heaven Shaman priest in the Myriad Buddha Mountain sent back a message. The Heaven Shaman priest only meant one thing, and that was to not provoke Jiyu Fei anymore. At this time, the Buddhist land was rare and peaceful because the Buddha tribe could finally get rid of the burden of the Devil Cave. For the Buddha tribe, this was simply a rebirth. The Buddha Supremes of the Buddha tribe had moved away from the Myriad Buddha Mountain and lived in the 10 major Buddhist temples. The sacred mountain of the Buddha race in the past had now turned into someone else's Tao ground. For the Buddha race, this was an absolute humiliation. However, there was nothing they could do about it. Because right now, the Buddha race did not dare to fall out with Jiyu Fei. Jiyu Fei was still in seclusion in Myriad Buddha Mountain's Myriad Buddha Hall. He had no intention of coming out. Xiao Ya had also returned. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth on Myriad Buddha Mountain was extremely dense. Cultivating here for a day was better than cultivating outside for a month. How could the Buddhist race nurture so many experts? To a large extent, it was because of the Myriad Buddha Mountain. At this moment, Jiyu Fei was not the only one on the 1000 Buddha Mountain. Xiao Ya, Long Xiaoju, and Heaven Magus priest Wu Lingxue were all on the mountain. Nothing much had changed on the Myriad Buddha Mountain. The people from the Buddhist race did not take anything away. The immortal medicine garden on the mountain was still lush and lush. The Buddha race didn't even bring a single immortal herb with them. Everything on Myriad Buddha Mountain belonged to Jiyu Fei. Without Jiyu Fei's approval, no one could have any designs on these things. Even the treasure cave on Myriad Buddha Mountain was left behind by the Buddha race. Of course, the treasures in the treasure cave did not catch Jiyu Fei's eye. Therefore, Xiao Ya and Long Xiaoju benefited from it. Heaven Magus priest Wu Lingxue, however, did not receive such treatment. Within the Myriad Buddha Hall, Jiyu Fei made use of the strong Buddhist power of the Myriad Buddha Hall and his own cultivation base to suppress that ball of unbounded grade demon source. Then, he slowly refined it. He sat cross-legged in the void of the hall. His entire body was filled with boundless energy. Streams of demonic energy surged out from the demon source and entered his body. This was the purest demonic energy in the world. If he were to let this level of demonic energy escape, a single strand of it would be enough to demonize an entire region, turning it into a demonic domain. Jiyu Fei was not afraid of this demonic energy. However, he could not rush it. If he wanted to completely refine this ball of unbounded grade demon source, it would definitely take a lot of time. Jiyu Fei was planning to go into seclusion for a long time. This was something that no one had expected. Time passed, and Huangfu Zun was still chasing after East King. He was extremely depressed. Under Lin Xiaotian's protection, East King had escaped all the way to the territory of the North Ruins ghost race. The North Ruins was the world of the ghost race. The Ghost Emperor had some friendship with the former Barbarian Emperor of the Southern Barbarian Emperor. However, the Barbarian Emperor was already a thing of the past, while the Ghost Emperor was still alive and well. Huangfu Zun had been badly battered by East King and Lin Xiaotian, so he had nowhere to vent his anger. After coming to the North Ruins, he had pushed his way through and killed many of the Ghost Emperor's subordinates who did not know what was good for them. Rage Emperor, what do you mean by this? At the peak of the Ghost Emperor Mountain, the Ghost Emperor sat on his throne inside the Ghost Emperor Palace. Two people stood in the hall. They were East King and Lin Xiaotian, who had escaped to the North Ruins. Lin Xiaotian was an emperor of the older generation. Even the Ghost Emperor did not dare to slight him. Haha, Daoist Fang Ming, we are just passing by your place. Lin Xiaotian cupped his hands at the Ghost Emperor. Passing by? You did this on purpose, didn't you? The Ghost Emperor's face darkened. Haha, if you say so, I can't do anything about it. How about we join hands and kill that Huangfu Zun? Lin Xiaotian laughed. What did you say? Kill Huangfu Zun? He is Jiyu Fei's man. I still want to live a few more years. The Ghost Emperor sneered. Hehe, it's not up to you. Lin Xiaotian sneered. What do you want? The Ghost Emperor was angry. It's not what I want, but what Huangfu Zun wants. Lin Xiaotian laughed. What? The Ghost Emperor on the throne was shocked. He seemed to have thought of something. Boom. Right at this moment, a loud bang sounded out from the entrance of Ghost Emperor Mountain, and the entire Ghost Emperor Mountain trembled. Lin Xiaotian, come out and die. A roar came from outside the Ghost Emperor Mountain, and a figure appeared in the sky outside the Ghost Emperor Mountain. This, in the hall at the peak of the Ghost Emperor Mountain, the Ghost Emperor on the throne was shocked. He never thought that Huangfu Zun would dare to attack his Ghost Emperor Mountain. This was the Ghost Emperor Mountain. The Ghost Emperor of the North Ruins was the Lord of the North Ruins, and the Ghost Emperor Mountain was his lair. No one had dared to attack the Ghost Emperor Mountain for hundreds of years. But today, someone had attacked the Ghost Emperor Mountain directly, not giving the Ghost Emperor any face, and giving him a hard slap in the face. Ha ha! I was right, wasn't I? Lin Xiaotian laughed inside the Ghost Emperor Palace. The Ghost Emperor was angry. He knew that Lin Xiaotian did this on purpose. He actually lured Huangfu Zun to the North Ruins and the Ghost Emperor Mountain. At this time, countless formation plates rushed out of Huangfu Zun's body. He began to set up a formation in the void, and the spirit energy of the entire world was attracted by him. Other than the Tianhong sect, the myriad transformation's ancestor, Huangfu Zun was the only one who could set up a formation in the void. Huangfu Zun, why did you attack my Ghost Emperor Mountain?